podcast where three bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor. I'm joined by my regular co-host, Mr.
Ben Errington.
And Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the world of survival horror.
Yeah, we're back again. How's it going?
We're back. Good luck.
It's good.
It's going.
It's surviving, good. Horrors or no. And it's almost Christmas now, isn't it? December.
Yeah.
Almost Christmas.
Christmas is within touching distance, sniffing distance. I can definitely smell it.
I smelled some Christmas the other day. Yeah.
Awful. Oh yeah. What did you have? Stuffing.
I had some stuff in, yeah.
That repeats on you, you know. That really does.
Yeah. Are you guys doing any Christmas horror related stuff? Christmas horror movie marathons or anything like that?
It's a good question. I think I saw a list on Letterboxd the other day, which was supposedly the definitive Christmas horror list. I'll have to find it, but we'll let Andy, I'm sure he's about to jump in and say he's going to watch Jack Frost.
Naturally. Yeah, Jack Frost is going to be on, of course. I haven't got to it yet, but I've done a couple of different Christmas horror associated movies so far already. I intend to work through a few more.
Instead of a log fire, he just has Jack Frost on repeat.
Just Jack Frost all the way through.
By the glow of the TV. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing though, isn't it? Because you'll get into the endless debate as to whether people will debate about Die Hard being a Christmas movie all day long. Karen,
are you not
like about Gremlins? Yeah, it's just a movie. Watch it whenever you want.
Jack Frost is an action movie.
Jack Frost is a movie for all seasons, but it's great at Christmas.
Kung Fu movie, I think.
The discourse around Die Hard is like it's run its course now. It's been how many years is it?
I thought like the first time I heard it, I smiled, and then I was like, I'm done with that.
Yeah,
I never need to hear that again.
It's because people are saying it's a Christmas movie. They're like, I'm so edgy and different and aren't I crazy? I think it's a Christmas movie. Now everyone does. So let's just move on with our lives.
It's one of those things. And this is why I host a podcast as well. Like, don't care what other people think. So watch it whenever you like, guys.
Yeah. Watch it, enjoy it. Iron Man 3 takes place at Christmas. If that's going to be a regular Soldier, Christmas watch for you.
That's a Christmas movie.
The Winter Soldier. Yeah, exactly. Any character with a beard automatically makes you think.
Christmas food.
Yeah, anything that Noel Edmonds is in the first Noel that we all knew.
Oh yeah, first
Noel's house party.
Yeah,
Christmas house party.
Even Mr. Blobby, Mr. Blobby. If by proxy, Mr. Blobby by association, he's Christmassy.
All films that were made in Turkey or come from that country.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like the cut of your jib. So on this Christmas list, there's like a few things I've not seen, so better watch out. I think you guys might have seen that.
Yeah, that's great. It's really good.
Yeah. Maybe I should stick that on the list for this month. Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
They're on Shudder at the minute, I think.
Yeah,
I
think that is
ludicrous.
They're good to watch if you want to see someone shout "punish" quite a bit.
I do.
Punish.
Well, he does not like he punishes people for all sorts.
There's I think that's being shown at the Bristol Bad Film Club this month. I think that is the movie of the month. Randomly on this list is The Snowman as well. Do you know that movie with Michael Fassbender that was critically panned? Apparently it was an absolute shit show. I can't remember if I've seen it or not. But that's on the list. That's on the list. Yeah, very exciting.
Interesting, yeah.
Interesting indeed. What about horror news? Anything?
There's a trailer for Leatherface, right? I haven't seen it yet.
That's the first thing I've got here. Well done.
Nice segue.
Correct. So it's just called Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a trailer. It's only like about a minute and a half long. Teaser, if you will. I saw it. The trailer, not the movie. Did you see it, Luke? The trailer?
No.
I mean, what is there to say? What is there to say? I mean, it's Fede Alvarez produced. If it was Fede Alvarez directed, I might go, Yeah. But because it's just produced, I think he's produced a lot recently. The film is a sequel to Toby Hooper's classic. The movie takes place years after the shocking events of the original in a setting where Leatherface hasn't been seen or heard from since. So I'm assuming it's doing this bloody thing where it vetoes a load of them.
Is Leatherface a boomer? Is he classed as a boomer?
He's got to be, isn't he now? Yeah, he is a boomer.
But he's got some questionable
Yeah.
opinions.
He's going to be like, well,
Other than
if you didn't spend all your money in avocados, you wouldn't have to be hitchhiking, would you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have to be.
All your
He
fancy coffees, soaring them up.
Can't use the internet. Sorry, boomers, only joking, but can't use bloody internet. I was like, why don't you Google it, Leatherface? He goes, what?
Let me just Google that
Do
for
what?
you, Leatherface, shall I? Oh.
FaceTime. That's something
There's
else, right? You should talk about something
FaceTime.
else.
Well, talking of FaceTime, he does hold up like a face to the
Yeah.
sun, and he's looking at it as if to say, "That's pretty lovely." That is.
Trying to line it up with a camera on his to do a video call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
trying to unlock his phone with face recognition, or something
Oh,
else.
he could do that.
Yeah. So, who knows? I mean, I've kind of lost track of what's been going on with these. I know there were remakes in the early 2000s, which I saw some of them. There was Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, one called just Texas Chainsaw, one recently called Leatherface. Like,
He's kind of a goodie in that one, right?
what is he?
Yeah, I think the main character, the main girl that's in it, she's
Kind of
like
a
his
goodie.
she's like his cousin or something like that. And then he's like, oh, actually, you ain't so bad. It's these other people in town that are wrong'uns, and she lets him out or something like that. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
It's got a famous lady in it. As the,
Jessica Biel is in the
Yeah.
remake, like the early
maybe
2000s
that's
one.
the one I've seen.
Yeah,
I feel like I went to
possibly.
the cinema to see that.
Leatherface. Leatherface is a goodie.
It's
That's like a bit like this film. Lisa Trevor face.
Yeah.
Oh, all the most we'll come to this. It feels like all the characters that you're meant to root for earlier on in this are the people that are mostly bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's a trailer. It's coming to Netflix in February. I think it's February the 18th. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Sure,
Lovely
we're gonna
Valentine's
watch it.
movie.
4 days after Valentine's Day. Do you want to watch a movie about a man who cuts off people's faces and wears them as a mask and cuts people up with a chainsaw? Yeah.
Puts makeup on some of them. Tarts himself up for a night out.
Oh yeah, he does. Bless him. Lovely. Maybe we'll get like a makeup tutorial look on YouTube from Leatherface
To do a
coincide.
Leatherface. Yeah.
coincide with
Put
the
a
movie.
face on, girls.
Let's put a face on, or not in the way you think. No, wink, wink, nudge,
Yeah.
nudge.
It's that easy look. Done.
It's dead easy.
Of course,
Done.
modern era though. Now he's going to have to be more sustainable. Pleatherface.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, yeah, it's important. Also, did you see? This is a random piece of news. You saw Nicolas Cage got cast as Dracula in the Renfield movie, right? I think I don't remember if we discussed that on news or
I don't know,
not.
It's quite new. It's quite new. It's new.
It's
news.
quite new
news.
news, isn't it? It is quite new news. But they've added a few more people to it. I think Nicholas Hoult is on board to star as
It's a
Renfield.
purely Nicholas-based film. Nicky Butt
Yeah.
is playing Renfield.
Wow, that's an amazing. Like
Nicholas Lyndhurst is going to be one of the
Nicholas
coachmen
Lyndhurst.
driving him in.
Saint
With-
Nicholas
Yeah,
is going to play Santa Claus.
that's good. Nicholas. Oh, I ain't got any.
Nicholas Sturgeon is going to be
Nicholas
played in.
Sturgeon. Oh,
It's
yeah,
gonna
that's
be
good.
fun.
Nicholas
It's gonna-
Sturgeon. That's good. She's gonna be the Scottish character.
Van Helsing.
Nicky Butt. I like that one better. Nicky. I can't think of anyone. My brain is fudged. Anyway, Awkwafina is going to star in it. She was
Okay.
in. She was
Shang-Chi.
in Shang-Chi. She's going to be in it as well.
A rapper, right? I mean, I don't know. I've never heard of Awkwafina before.
I think so. I think the
Yeah,
first
that'd
thing I saw in was that she was in some TV show, wasn't she? And she was also in that.
She a Saturday Night Live like a comedian, right? Like primarily, like everyone's a triple threat nowadays. Ben, more than one skill.
Nicolas Cage is definitely a triple threat. Modern day adventure story that is comedic in tone. Interesting.
Oh,
No word yet on what Awkwafina's role will be, but someone from Rick and Morty has written the script.
which one? Rick or Morty?
Someone from Rick and Morty. Which one?
It's
Rick?
gotta
Oh, it was
be-
a joke. It was a
It's
joke.
got to
wasn't
be. It's got to be Justin Roiland, isn't it? Or I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
they've
I
got a
don't
lot of
know.
writers. I guess Justin Roiland. I just think.
Apparently, it's based on a pitch from Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman as well.
Okay. Interest is growing in it with with the more people that get announced to it, but on
Nicky
paper, you
Burt,
tell me, are
Nicholas
you
Sturgeon.
interested? Yeah, are you
Can't wait to
interested
see it.
in a Renfield movie? I'd probably say
No.
not really. It's that man
Nicolas
that goes
Cage,
man that
Awkwafina,
goes bonkers.
Nicolas
and
Cage,
then-
Awkwafina, Nicholas Sturgeon, Nicholas
Like
Lyndhurst,
Nicholas the First.
and Nicky Butt and Nick.
Nick
Yeah.
Grimshaw,
Nicholas-
radio host, he'll be
Nick
doing the
Grimshaw.
music.
Nick Grimshaw, Nick Nolte, is that one?
Nolte,
Nick
yeah.
Knowles,
Nick Knowles.
Nick Nolte, and
Nick
Nick
Nolte.
Nolte.
Nick Nolte will probably DIY the house.
Yeah.
Out there.
Nice.
Um,
Talking of houses, segue to a cabin. The M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, Knock at the Cabin. Even though we've got no details about it, only Dave Bautista's been cast in it.
He'll be
guessing
knocking
it-
at that cabin door. I bet you could knock on that door real hard as well. He's a big man.
I'm guessing it is the lead as well.
What is Batista's special maneuver? Or
Uh,
special move?
Batista bomb.
What was that?
He also,
What does he
he
do
also
for
did.
that?
It was like a power bomb, but like where he sat down as well. I think
I'm pretty
on
sure
his
that,
arse.
that was already a thing, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, they're all already a thing. It's just
It's also
But he,
like-
but he
RKO
says
flavor
Batista
you
when
add
he's
on
doing
top.
it.
Yeah.
He says Batista. Well, yeah, everything. RKO was the diamond cutter. What
People's
else?
elbow is just an elbow drop, but he takes the elbow
People's
pad
elbow
off.
was just a bloody elbow drop.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
sharper if you haven't got that pad on. It's going to come sharp.
It's gonna come sharp. Oh yes.
I liked Mankind used to. I think it was Mankind used to get out a bag of thumbtacks and he'd spray them across the ring.
Classic.
And then like
He had like a gross
grab
sock in his
someone's
pants
face.
as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Socko.
When we used to play wrestling as kids, I had a plastic bag of Lego I kept under the bed. So in case I was ever like in a wrestling
Dangerous.
match, if I was ever in mid wrestling match, I'd pull them out, show the pretend audience, and I'd spill the Lego on
Spill
the
the
bed.
Lego.
Pedigree
did
my
the-
face. Pedigree my friend's face onto the Lego.
Pedigree
And-
your own face onto it.
And he'd
How
look
did
up,
it-
he'd look up and he had bits of Lego sticking out of his face.
He'd
It
look
was
up and he'd have a perfect X-wing on his head.
Oh. One of my friends in a very dangerous. It was an epic match. We've been wrestling for some time, and then in a big sort of Royal Rumble in the house, someone got pedigreed onto the Argus catalogue. It was
Oh my
was
God.
devastating.
Jesus Christ! Was it open or was it closed?
Closed. A closed
Pedigree.
Argus catalogue.
What's the
Pedigreed
worst thing
straight into
you've
the
been,
toy section.
The worst thing you've been suplexed or wrestling moved onto?
I guess just
Because-
like the ground.
That's pretty bad. I got onto
Yeah.
onto face first into a yogurt pot. I don't know whose yogurt pot it was. It was like an empty little dirty.
Right into a fruit corner. And you've got like the red on your right.
What? Yeah. What kind of yogurt was it?
It was fruit corner, I think. I don't know what.
Uh,
Can't remember what flavor it was.
wow. It was the toffee
Wild
hoops
cherry.
one. You had 2 hoops on your two hoops on your eyes. I think I got like a double arm DDT onto. So I think we used to put mattresses down on in my friend's room, and I think he had like wood flooring, laminate flooring. And I think what happened where we've been wrestling, the mattresses have been slowly parting,
Separating.
separating, and then I took the DDT, but I really committed to it. So I really like slung myself down with it straight onto the floor. Boof! Oh fuck
Yeah,
yeah!
it was amazing.
great.
Good
That was
times.
great.
Wrestling is like the slightly older version of, when you've just got a bouncy castle. I mean, if you can combine the two and there's an opportunity to wrestle as an older child on a bouncy castle, then what a time. You just play until you hurt yourself and then everyone stops.
Yeah.
What time to be alive. Do not go on there with shoes on.
It's a rental. Come on.
It's a bloody rental. That's pretty much all I got for horror news. Has anybody seen anything of note this week?
Just the new Scream posters. That's ramping up. It isn't far off, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, so there were screen posters with pretty much every major character from the original movie holding the mask as if to say, oh, is the killer me? It might be me. Ooh. And then there was like new character posters for every new character in the movie as well. And there are a lot. And I'm looking at them all. And I think it's just because they're young and attractive that I'm going, how am I going to be able to tell all these people apart?
I don't know. You're not my people from Scream.
Yeah, I felt a bit like
Yeah.
that. But that's just bloody showing me age, isn't it? But yeah, there's that. I don't think there's anything else that I've seen this week. I think that's kind of it. It's been a bit.
I meant to talk about this last week, but I forgot. There's a film on Netflix called Await Further Instructions. It's got a really cool poster.
Okay.
It's like the guy, like a man, and he's got like cables coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, I've got it on my list. I haven't got around to watching it. It looks great.
Well,
Oh, does it just look great?
I mean, like the first, so it's like quite a lower budget film. It's an English-based film, which I didn't know. It's lots of smaller actors, but it's got who plays in Harry Potter, who plays Uncle Fester.
In
You know
Harry
the-
Potter.
Uncle
In
Fester.
Harry
Henry
Potter.
Crabbe. The uncle.
No,
Pie in the sky.
he's like the
You're mixing
the
up your
janitor.
franchise. Oh, that guy. The guy
Like
with
the
the
long.
cat.
It's got he plays like the boomer, slightly racist granddad. There's a family who goes to Christmas. They all don't get along because the grandson brings his Indian girlfriend, I think. So there's like all kind of weird tensions there. And then the morning after, Christmas Day morning, like the door's suddenly locked and they can't get out, and there's like a weird like metal mesh around everything. And then like there's like instructions that show up on the TV. It's like, we're going to throw some drugs down the chimney. These are going to keep you alive. So it's a whole metaphor, like listening to the TV to tell you exactly what to do and what to think. And I feel like it's like the first 80% of it, it's kind of dreadful, like really bad characters, like ludicrous character decisions, and kind of forced character points of view just to make plot happen, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the last 80%, when the special effects kick in, are awesome. Like the whole special effects and the thing that poster's based on is really cool. There's
Is
a
this
whole
new?
come on, a year or two ago.
Yeah, it's about a year.
There's a central like image in there at the end that I was like, that's amazing. It was really worth watching it just for those last 20 minutes or so.
So it's got a malignant structure to it then.
But the first 8% is tough to get through.
Okay. But what I'm hearing as well, Luke, is that it's a Christmas movie. Apparently, it's at Christmas.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Perfect.
also
Add that
reading
to
a
the
book
list.
called The Human Centipede, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's the human centipede, but Christmas themed, and it's about a guy trying to sew Santa and his elves and his reindeer all together. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. I mean, whatever you think in your head, that's exactly what happens in the book. Like, it doesn't go, it's nowhere near as weird as you think it would be. It's just, I don't know.
It's nowhere near as weird as it's quite bland.
It's quite normal. It was like, if you expect me to believe that someone's going to be able to sew Santa, who, but by my understanding, is magic, a regular man's going to be able to get him to stand still and sew him to an elf's bum.
I mean, it's very funny. It starts with gags written by a British author called Adam Millard, and the humor is like hanging out with your dad's mates at their office. Like, it's very kind of, I don't know, not laddie,
Very specific.
but yeah,
Office lads.
yeah.
Oh.
Lots
Check
of
him
like
out.
forced double entendres.
Oh, yeah.
And that
Secret
kind of thing.
Secret Santa banter.
See,
You know when like
that's exactly it,
during Secret Santa, like all bets are off. Like no matter how awkward something is, the banter will happen.
I'm going to say anal beads.
Anal beads. Yeah, like imagine another scenario where you gave someone you worked with a sex toy or I don't know, something a little bit weird.
Yeah.
It would be
right in the bin.
What are you doing? You're sacked. But when it's Secret Santa, it's like, oh yeah. Remember that time?
Everybody's got a sex toy.
Remember that time he said he liked to finger at the bum? Well, I've bought you an 18-inch sex toy.
I gotta tell you, it's not an 18-inch sex toy. That's a friend of mine at work. When we were in the office and we do things like Secret Santa, the whole team would get together and they'd play a game where you didn't even have a person allocated. It was just like a random gift exchange. That friend of mine, Simon, would be the best at bringing in like awful Secret Santa presents. On one occasion, he went to a charity shop and got like the owner's manual for like a 1990s Ford Cortina or something along those lines. It was so good.
Just what I've
Things that
always
people
wanted.
someone would never ever want.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you got to do that, and I think you got to like. There's the other end of it, which is buying someone something that's really thoughtful, actually quite nice, and it's like, no, no, what's that? Bath bombs? No. That's not it.
I've been
Nail
quite lucky,
bomb.
to be honest. Recently, like I think someone got like a book of short horror stories one year, and another year someone got me a book. It's like Welcome to Night Vale, the book version of it.
Okay.
I was like,
Yeah,
how
mate.
these people just know exactly. I think they've been googling me or something.
How do they know that?
Yeah.
And also, why are they so nice to you?
You kick off, you get like a book of a rival podcast. Thanks for making me feel fucking awful.
Yeah.
Is that
That you
it?
stole
Is
this.
That's it. Other than Resi Evil, welcome to Raccoon City.
I've got a couple of things I watched in the run up to Christmas for Resident Evil. I watched Anna and the Apocalypse the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a musical,
Zombie Christmas musical. Yeah. I wasn't sure at first. A couple of songs in, I was into it though. It's all right, It's a lot of fun.
A zombie Christmas musical. Who's in that?
Zombie Christmas musical. There is. I don't know any of the people by name without having to look them up. There was a chap in it who was also in that Murder Island program on Channel 4 a few weeks ago. He is like the best friend in it. Dennis Pennis is in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is this a UK-based movie as well? It is.
Yeah, it's BBC, not BBC. It's like Scottish film.
Oh, cool. I've never heard of that one either.
It's on Amazon Prime, like free, not like you have to buy it separately.
Netflix as well.
Maybe. Is it the double?
I think it's doing the double. Yeah,
doing the double. Yeah, it's worth a watch. Like when it first begins, I feel like I think the first song it feels like you're watching like your local Amdram society put on something, but actually it really finds its pace. It's quite funny in some places. It's got some nice slapstick zombie kills about it. It's just a fun Christmas movie, and it is. Yeah, it's very heavily Christmas. It's set up to do. It's set up directly to be tied to Christmas. And the brand new customers only man from those adverts a few years ago. He's the dad. Yeah, it's all right.
Nice.
It's all right.
Add that to the list as well.
Yeah, but other than that, just actual Christmas movies, and then this week's very Christmassy film, Welcome to Raccoon City.
Evil.
So, I guess I watched a Christmas movie. I watched a new Home Alone movie, Home Sweet Home Alone.
Oh, what did you think?
How's that?
Have you guys got around to this yet?
Yeah, I've seen it, and I didn't think it was that bad. I think it was fine.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't say it was. It left me. Didn't leave me feeling cold. It didn't leave me feeling like the franchise has got new life. Not kind of sure about that kid. I know a lot of people are kind of thinking that kid's
He's like a tiny Nick Frost. He's like a Sabutio player version.
I don't know. Yeah. I think sometimes I'm like, what? How is he in films? You know what I mean? I'm a bit like, is this right? Is he? I don't know.
It's more of a contest.
We don't want to be mean to the kid, but yeah, it's perfectly fine. It tries something different with the antagonists.
I liked the way the antagonists were set up, but it wasn't just burglars. I thought that was okay. It's one of those things where you could solve. There are more sensible ways you could solve your conflict, but it was fun enough. I think the most jarring thing for me was that Aisling B is in it. It's just an English accent rather than her regular one.
Who's it?
Aisling B.
Yeah. Who's that?
You recognize her face.
She's like an Irish comedian actor. You'd definitely recognize her. She's on a series of Taskmaster. She's very funny.
On a lot of panel shows, yeah.
Oh, that's how you pronounce the name.
There are moments when this film just says a line from. I mean, mainly the first two movies, obviously, because they're the best. But
does he say, "I made my parents disappear"?
I don't think he says that exactly, but I don't know. It's quite heavy-handed with some stuff. Other stuff, not so much. It does sort of fall into really quite basic family Christmas movie territory for a lot of the duration of it. I guess there's a lot of stuff like that about the meaning of Christmas, and well, I guess so. But Buzz is in it from the original two.
Oh, so he is.
And Kevin even does get a mention. We don't really find that much about him.
Because Buzz plays Buzz, right? So he's there saying, "Oh yeah, ignore it if someone phones in about a kid being home alone," because my brother's a right dickhead and he got left at home alone. Now he winds me up about it every year. Why would he wind Buzz up about it? Because it wasn't Buzz that left him home alone.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Maybe he winds up every single member of his family, and there was a lot of them. There was a lot of them. So yeah. So there was that I've seen, and I watched War of the Worlds last night. The Steven Spielberg War of the Worlds.
I like that one. There's only like one bit that I think is, I don't know, throws me off when he goes off screen to kill someone. So back in a sec.
When the man in the basement, is that right? I'm just off to kill him.
Tim Robbins.
Yeah.
Just have to kill Tim Robbins.
Like the kids are a bit annoying as well. Like Dakota Fanning and the guy who's I think he's in the Dragon Ball Z movie. For some reason, like every time there's like a soldier on screen, he's like running off, going, "I want to join the army. I want to help." Just give it a rest, mate.
Just wait for him to die of the cold. Come on.
But genuinely,
Sorry, I was trying to do the Kamehameha.
Genuinely, the scary moments in this film are quite effective, I think.
Yeah.
Like there's some moments where they're trying to hide from this like weird little drone
What does
thing.
it do to people? Like the big things, they take people,
turn people to dust.
Yeah.
Oh, like when they yank them up.
They just when they use their laser beams in the film version to just turn people into clothes. Like those, they just get turned to clothes like in those Lenore adverts. They just turn them into those fabric people. But then when they pick them up, when they pick them up, they slurp their blood out, don't they?
Yeah, using their blood.
Lovely blood. But then, years before COVID, it's that gets them. It's the vid.
It's the vid that gets them. They just all go, "Oh bloody hell! You never guess what." This planet Earth ain't for me. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, because these aliens all get out of their spaceships, wearing a fucking mask, off they go, and then should have. Look what happens to them.
They get well poorly, don't they?
They get right poorly.
But that makes like a lot of sense, in the sense that like any kind of species is introduced to another one. There's like when an uncontacted tribe becomes contacted, they get really ill, or some people start dying.
Yeah.
But like, wouldn't the intergalactic aliens know about that already?
Well, maybe it doesn't come up.
Apparently, they're real smart, and they've been planning this possibly for millions of years, but they didn't even think of that.
They didn't bring any tissues or lemsip.
Didn't bring any tissues, lemsip, a little mask. No, I trust my immune system. They say.
They say, don't even know what's in it. Don't even know what's in it. I ain't taking it. And bites them on the ass, doesn't it?
The design of the aliens is pretty cool, though. I mean, you don't see much of them out of their tripod ships, but they got weird long legs and then a little set of small legs, and then a big,
Tom Cruise.
Quite scary. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has got a tooth perfectly in the middle of his head.
Yeah.
That's my
Thomas Cruise after the third.
There's a photo that went around recently. He's been in England, and it was him stood outside of an Indian restaurant in Birmingham.
Yeah,
and it didn't look anything like Tom Cruise.
No, it just looked like a man, didn't it?
Yeah, it went viral because they were like, "This is definitely Tom Cruise," and everyone was like, "I don't think it is."
I don't believe you.
To be fair, he is 59 years old. Old Father Time's got to be catching up with him soon.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. No matter how fast he tries to run,
comes for you. It'll come for you.
Get away from me, Father Time.
Wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, I just fancied that. So
that's right. What are your feelings on the original War of the Worlds, Ben?
Well, the audio drama.
What, the H.G. Wells audio drama? There was like a series, wasn't there?
Recently? Like was it the Jeff Wayne musical with the proper like orchestra? That's the one.
Jesus, don't know if I've ever seen that.
Oh, it's good.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's got some good songs in it. Second half, the songs aren't such bangers, but the first half of that War of the Worlds musical.
Yeah, I've heard some audio stuff from it. I think that's all I've heard.
You ever been near Drayton Manor Park and Zoo at a bonfire night? You'll have heard it.
Oh right.
That was the theme every year. We lived my grandparents lived within earshot of Drayton Manor, so you didn't have to go because just look at the sky.
It is true that
they lean really heavily into Thomas Land these days now, Luke. So if you love a bit of Thomas the Tank Engine, Ringo Starr's round train face. Yeah, Tom Cruise the Tank Engine.
Thomas Cruise Land. What things would there be at Tom Cruise Land? Scientology Center. Go in, get brainwashed, come out. Mission
Just
Impossible.
running,
You got
Really good shot.
running dead fast from Father Time.
you got to do all the Mission Impossible stunts he does, hanging from the cliff face, like in number
Yeah.
2. What else? Didn't like a big fish tank explode in the first Mission Impossible? Run away
Yeah,
from
he
that.
puts some chewing gum on a fish tank and blow it up.
Burj Khalifa. Is that what it's
Go
More than
rogue
that.
as often as you can.
called? Go rogue.
Yeah, all I really remember is, and on the Facebook
Chicken
group, Danny
cocktail.
Taylor will tell you about this from the Facebook group, but mostly it's all about going to Drayton Manor and the stalls, racing on the Arabian Derby. Seriously, play it now. Just the endless jingles around at Drayton Manor, and where we grew up. Like most of my friends had at least worked there one summer.
You got to get
I
one
have to go a
summer
long time
at
since I've
Drayton
been there.
Manor down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is that, apart from the film of the week,
Yeah.
which is called Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. It's a 2021 action horror film written and directed by Johannes Roberts, adapted from the stories of the first and second Resident Evil games by Capcom. It serves as a reboot of the Resident Evil film series, and it's the 7th live action film overall. So, plot-wise, set in 1998, the origin story of Resident Evil explores the secrets of the mysterious Spencer Mansion in the ill-fated Raccoon City.
Yeah. So in terms of ratings, IMDb has it set at 5.6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, the critics have it at 28%. So very, very low. Audience have it at 65, so a bit more in the middle. The Rotten Tomatoes critics consensus, that they all gathered around and said these words at the exact same time. Welcome to Raccoon City is an affectionately faithful adaptation that further proves its source material is ill-suited to the big screen. Letterboxd has an average of 2.5 out of 5. Some choice reviews here. Craig put, "How is this the worst Resident Evil film? Leon S. Kennedy is one of my favorite characters in any form of media, and it's genuinely unbelievable how badly they butchered him here. Half a star." So he wasn't a fan. However, Electra Karas put, "Why did this Leon," it's always about Leon, "why did this Leon bump into 20 walls, fall into everything bad, and almost got his junk ripped off in the first 10 minutes? 5 stars. So he saw that as a positive. And then lastly, Lars Adams put, "Jill sandwich, shit sandwich, 1 star."
Wow, I think that might be it, isn't it? There we go. I think our job, our work here is done. Shit sandwich. Let's take our leave. No?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
We were excited about this film, right? Before watching it.
we
I
were.
think we were quite optimistic.
Yeah, I was optimistic about it. I was a bit worried because we didn't get a trailer until like the month before it was due to come out, I think. So that was a bit strange. I think the trailer looked, didn't look great, didn't look perfect, but I think it had some potential. And I think I was expecting something of a like cheesy B-movie action horror that was incredibly faithful to the games. It was probably a bit silly, but I didn't necessarily want it to. I think this is a franchise I'm really, really grateful that we got some level of reboot, because I've always had such a bad relationship with the Mila Jovovich and Paul W.S. Anderson, despite the fact Paul W.S. Anderson is a producer on this movie. Who knows how much involvement he had. But I've always had such a bad relationship with them that I thought I'd love to just get a movie where they're set in the world of the games, and then maybe it's the first game is the first movie, second. So, I'm grateful, if anything, that we get to see this.
Yeah.
So I think that leans into my first question, and particularly for you, Ben. I know you're a big fan of the games. Before we get into specifics, do you feel that they made the right choice in having this as an adaptation of the first and second games, or do you think it bit off more than it could chew?
It, without a doubt, bit off more than it could chew. I think the first games are tonally very different. They tell very different stories. Like the first game is like a haunted house game, a haunted house sort of story as well. The second game leans slightly more into the action beats. I mean, sure, combine Resident Evil 2 and 3 into a movie if you want. If you're going to have like an ensemble cast and you want to sort of lean into that, fine. The fact is, your attention is on these two very different places and neither is given the correct amount of attention. And because of that, either of those places, Raccoon City and the Spencer Mansion, have got like no atmosphere because you don't feel like you're in there with the characters. You feel like you're just going back and forth between, sometimes when you're watching a TV show and it's trying to manage multiple storylines, you've got two characters over here doing something, you've got another two characters over here doing something. Most of the time, you're keen to get back to one of those storylines, aren't you?
Yeah.
I felt like that with both of these storylines. I wanted to get away from that storyline and get back to the other one. And when I was with the other one, I was like, no, get back to the other one. Oh no, get back to the other. It was almost like I couldn't get a grip on what I was supposed to be feeling. Who was supposed to be rooting for?
There's such a rapid turnover of time in this movie as well. Like, again, we'll get into the full plot, but basically, very early on, we see it turn midnight. And then before you know it, one of the characters gets a message saying the city is going to be destroyed at 6 a.m. First thing, 6 a.m. That's when the city's going to be destroyed. And then moments later, there is another like hard cut black screen. It's now 1 a.m. Like the time in this moves so quickly. It's like the antithesis of the latest Halloween movies, where one night has lasted about 8 hours on screen, like pretty much done in real time. It feels like all of this stuff wouldn't have time to happen unless the city itself is,
also in terms
tiny.
of the city being blown up, only one character knows it's going to happen for the most of the film. Obviously, yes, spoilers for this film throughout. Only one character. I don't understand what anyone's goal is at any point.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get out of the city. It's almost like, but why? No one knows the city's going to explode except one particular character.
Well, I figured the police chief maybe knew, but I don't think it was ever explicitly
stated. He comes and says, and he knew about a secret
tunnel. Know about the zombies as well. But
that's the thing. They hint at Chief Irons and his involvement, but the way he's involved in the games, and I'm going to compare things to the games. I know it's not fair because it's a different medium, and I understand completely that transferring the exact characters, the exact situations, the exact story beats is never ever going to work. I completely understand that. However, it seemed to take things that were very easy to translate about certain characters into movies and go, we're just going to completely fudge them to the point where this character is essentially unrecognizable as that character and what their goals are. And sorry, go on. So Chief Irons, for example, is a genuine, like, one of the big antagonists of the second game.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of just there in this game. If you take him out of this in this film, the film plays out exactly the same.
Yeah. And he has no motive or no agency to it. He's just a guy that, maybe took a few bribes, but he's not into anything bad himself. And you're right, Ben. I don't think the characters have to be adapted in the same way. And I'll be quick to say any criticism I make of how the characters play out in terms of the way they're written or the way they were used, not a single jot of this is down to what anyone looks like. I think visually, everyone looks fine. Like, you make choices. I don't need my character in this one to look like the sprite of the video game character, particularly Chris Redfield, because there are 6 of them anyway, so he looks different in every game.
Perfect example. Sorry, I'm just adding to your point, Andy, not interrupting.
No, go.
Adding to that point, in the Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evils, Leon looks like Leon, Wesker looks like Wesker, Jill looks like Jill. I mean, all awful.
Yeah.
So at what point?
It doesn't have to be the same.
At what point do you look at a movie and say, look, the race of this person is going to determine whether this character, like, any problems I've got with any characters in this movie is simply how they're written. And also, like, the fact that everything's there for this character their existence in this universe hinges on a few things. If you completely throw all that out the window. It's just like, why does that character need to be that character anymore? Why do we need to say we're putting Leon in this film?
Well, it feels like it's almost like bad cosplay. Not so much like just in
Yeah.
the characters themselves, but it feels like even the locations, like it's all just set dressed to look like it's got stuff from the Resident Evil franchise. There's even the Jill sandwich, and there's the we even got zombie dogs in the garages of the police station. But it doesn't actually, none of it actually feels like the actual Resident Evil game. It just feels like it's set dressed to look like it.
Sorry, also adding to that point, Luke, which is a great point. One of the things that they've really talked about in the marketing of this movie is the fact that they've taken like maps from the games and they've recreated the locations like pretty much perfectly. But I'm like, yeah, but just from one angle. Like you walk in, oh, here's the mansion. Okay, great. Here's the police station. Great.
Well, you know, the police stations and the labyrinth. I mean, the police station and the mansion. They're supposed to be like labyrinthine places that just go like deeper and deeper, and you spend more time in there. And you think, how big and deep is this place? But they've got like a one room each. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
that's all we've got.
But also, everything's so like when they get into the mansion, everything's so dark, and just turn the bloody light on. Like I think that's part of the thing. Like even though in the Resident Evil games there is light, but it's atmospheric enough that it's still spooky. The fact that everything's in complete pitch darkness is like, I mean, what does it matter that the sets are exactly the same as the games because everything's so dark. There's flashes of zombies, there's gunfires going off, like you can't see really what's happening. I didn't get at any point a sense of that dread, that survival horror, what is around the corner, what's this place going to throw at us next. I didn't get a sense of that. I didn't get a sense that the umbrella thing was like this conspiracy that was slowly being unraveled. It almost like sets it up immediately. It goes, umbrella, it's a creepy it's a conspiracy, like a pharmaceutical company.
This film's biggest offender for me was the bad exposition, in the sense of, as you know, Mr. Spencer is the head of they literally, that's like in 101. You never say as you well know, this means that, this means that, this means that. Like they actually literally say, as you know, Mr. Spencer is the head of Umbrella, as you know. But also people are saying, hello, Chris Redfield, my name is Joe Valentine. Or I don't think they do it quite as bad as that. But
I think they do. That scene in like the diner when you're introduced to everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody's full names are uttered, and that is just heavy. That is really
the exposition is mental.
Especially if you're making this for, and let's face it, I know we're going to get into the plot. We've all seen it. Like, you're making this primarily for fans of the game, and then I'm going to go into this with reference writing. It's one of the bugbears I have with not only this but other things that really lean into like nostalgia and ideas that you're writing things for the fans. I know it's a hugely popular book, and someone who's a far more successful writer than me that I'm about to criticize here, but with things like Ready Player One, I really bounced off that book because the way the references work. If you're writing references for people who get those things, you can touch on them incredibly subtly. You don't have to say, this reminds me of playing Defender on my Atari 2600, and you use this particular control. That, like, as soon as you've said it's like playing Defender, the people who your target audience for on that will be like, I know what that is. I can fill in the rest of the gaps. I don't need you to prove to me that you did it. And I think a lot of this comes in here as well. It's like, I am saying this stuff, like in your example with the Spencer Mansion, it's like, oh, I see you know your lore of Resident Evil well. And there's a bit later on we get like, from nothing, you could argue perhaps it's sequel bait, but you basically get a shot-for-shot remake of the Ashford twins feeding a dragonfly to some ants.
There's even a shot of the dragonfly that looks like the shot from the game. It doesn't look like it's been recreated.
Yeah, you've got loads of stuff in that as well. But it's so, maybe it's baiting for sequels, but it is directly recreating and hitting that nostalgia. And I don't know, for me as a big fan of Resident Evil things. I don't need to see the thing that I already know over and over again. It'd be interesting to see a way of going for it. But in the defense, what they've done is they have tried to create something which is what a lot of people criticize the other versions for not being. So maybe this is like, be careful what you wish for.
But I don't know. I feel like you could have done this and still told a good story. Like, it just, I don't know. It feels like they just really messed up on the at a script level. I think.
Yeah.
Do one game, do the first one, and just really like dive into that dread and that atmosphere. But the atmosphere is the big thing about that. That's the big selling point.
I don't want to draw exact parallels on this one because you can never recapture the lightning in a bottle sometimes. But like effectively, the best version of Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, effectively you're making Alien and then Aliens, or like versions thereof, right? One that is a claustrophobic, slower burning bit of terror, and then the second one it blows up and becomes all that action. Really, you're not in a house, you're in a
really good parallel, because you imagine those two films together in one and it doesn't work. Like it ruins both of them. So
in terms of tone, as I mentioned already, in terms of tone, they're so different. I think it just needs to like bring the scope in a bit more. It needed to just, it was getting bogged down in trying to be sort of wink, wink, nod, nod to all these things in the games, without really caring too much about how it linked everything together in a way that the story, with a story that actually A, made sense, B, we're invested in, and we're invested in certain characters in. You know, like in terms of twists, there was a moment when Jill Valentine said Wesker betrayed us. I'm like, but did he?
Yeah, I didn't pick up.
Didn't really betray you. Like,
no, he just didn't tell them or something.
What we literally
want.
The betrayal was he kind of knew that he was going in to get the G virus, and he knew. Whereas obviously, again, I don't want to get stuck in the details of things from the games, but you know, Albert Wesker is one of the head honchos at Umbrella.
He's meant to be behind it almost himself.
He doesn't work for Umbrella. He essentially is Umbrella to a degree.
Yeah.
And it just felt like it got bogged down in all of these moments to the point where I'm like, and I know this sounds like a really bad thing to say, but I'm like, is there even really a plot? It kind of just goes from beat to beat to beat to beat without ever really, and it expects a hell of a lot from the audience. I just kept thinking, imagine I didn't know about all of the Resident Evil games. What would I think of this movie? Like, could I don't know, think I'd know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, this was one I didn't even make an attempt. Like, you know, Karen puts up with going to see a lot of movies with me that she wouldn't necessarily choose to watch. But, you know, and usually when I'm going, I'd say, oh, we're doing this for the podcast this week. Do you want to come? Sometimes she'll say yes. Sometimes she'll say no. Didn't even bother asking. I just said, I'm going to have to go and see Resident Evil tonight. I'll see you later.
I also, I don't know how. I know that the director was very keen to say, look, we've based this on the games, and that, but I would like to know what his relationship was with the games, because it honestly I feel like
the director feels like a fan. I feel like they've tried to do something that
there were some good shots. There were some good like slow zooms. There were some good sort of like what would you call those close-ups where someone in the foreground's like in focus and then in the background.
Split diopter thing.
Yeah, is that what it's called? Yeah. There was a couple of, but sometimes there were things that he recreated in this movie that I was like the truck driver eating a burger. Like that game came out in 2019 with the burger. Like, are we already saying that that's an iconic thing that we need to include in this movie? Like, I honestly don't.
So this guy, Johannes Roberts, he's done quite a few movies. Recently, he did the 47 Meters Down movies, which are like the sharks in the water, which were quite good. I thought were okay anyway. And then he did The Strangers Pray at Night, which I think is the most recent one, which I think the big take, I haven't seen it, but from what I could gather, the general consensus was it had some cool moments, but it didn't really feel like a sequel to The Stranger. So like tonally, it was off.
Oh my god! I literally just realized he wrote and directed Storage 24, which is like a science fiction horror film with what's his name, Noel Clarke in it.
So,
And I've seen that,
Yeah.
and
Is that like an
No.
alien monster movie?
I think so. Yeah.
I think
He's
Noel
also
Clarke
looks like
once said that he's going to make, because it came around at the same time as Attack the Block. I think he said it's going to make Joe Cornish's film look like shit. I remember him saying something like that.
What's
like
that?
calling-
Noel Clarke is full of shit. Who would have thought it? Wow. It also looks like he's making The Pool, which I guess is a remake of that. Was it Korean? The one with the crocodile in an empty pool and someone gets trapped in there with it.
Oh,
You see that?
Oh, I don't think I've seen that. Goodness knows why I haven't seen it. That sounds just like my type of thing.
So now I've seen that. I mean, it was back in 2012, Storage 24, but I've seen that and I remember being like, how is this happening? How is this on TV or something like that? Yeah.
But you know, like go out and do your thing, and you know, good on him. He's got to do this thing, which,
Okay.
like I say,
Yeah.
it's clear that I get from this, and either that or he's got a research team that are very. But I think looking at the level of detail they've wanted to go into on some of these things, these filmmakers are people who have an interest in Resident Evil, and they are a fan of those games. And I'll be very quick to say this. I said it to Luke just before we started. I'll have some kind things to say about this a little bit later. There are some things that I think are noteworthy for good reasons, and we'll come to them. But the thing that got me about it from a whole characterization point of view is that it felt like every character was almost the same person. And that not one.
It was written by Johannes Roberts as well. He wrote and directed it.
But not anyone has a bit like I watched. We were going through the Halloween movies recently, and I watched the Rob Zombie ones, and I find it unpalatable to watch because everything has to be slightly unpleasant, and there isn't anyone that can just be nice, and anyone that's just good. And in this one, my problem with the characters was that like someone can, you can just have a person that's good or credible at their job or a professional, whereas like everyone is just a little bit comically inept. Everyone is a little bit like cynical and have given up on everything on this one.
It kind of actually reminds me, now we're talking about it, of the kind of tone and hyper realism of American Horror Story, where nothing's normal. Like everything's constantly moving really quick, and every character's not normal. No, there's no normal people. Everyone has to be like a caricature more than a real person.
Yeah, an extreme of whatever their archetype is.
Yeah.
I think maybe the first act is quite good at building some level of atmosphere. In a way, I guess there's some bits I kind of liked about it. I mean, and kudos for an attempt at least. I think pretty much all the characters are characters from the games, like even super minor characters have got names from the game. So I mean, respect for that, I guess. Also, like, it kind of hits you over the head with the fact that it's set in the 90s, because I don't think anyone goes back to play Resident Evil 2 and goes, well, this is apparently set in the 90s, but I can't tell it is. There's loads of stuff. There's
the thing
like
that really sold it as being something from the 90s. The CGI looked like it was from before the 90s.
Yeah. Wow.
It's got some very like Blade 1 era CGI.
Like the dog, there's one bit where the dog is like backing away, and his head is like perfectly still. Like maybe they ran out of budget to like move the dog's head or something. I don't know.
Also, sorry, I know we're going to get to this, but isn't the end the same as the end of the end of the first movie, the 2002 version, where escaping on a train, big creature comes, fight off big creature, walk out into sunset, into sunrise.
Slipknot break into song.
Slipknot break into song. Drowning pool kicks in.
What was the Slipknot song from Resident Evil 1?
Oh, I don't know. Wasn't it?
I know why you feel me. Was it not that one?
Was it? I thought it was Before I Forget, but maybe it was Left Behind. Was it Left Behind? It might have been Left Behind. Maybe. Who knows?
No, it wasn't one of the big ones.
Oh, it wasn't one of the big ones. Okay, so it was My Plague.
Naturally, because it's about a virus.
It was My Plague. I just googled that, but
I think it was one of them ones.
anyway, so I was getting major deja vu where I was like, of all the like, you're doing a reboot of surely if you're doing a reboot of a game of a movie franchise based on a game, I mean, no matter what it's based on, if you're rebooting it, surely you don't include exactly the same finale, almost beat for beat. That is just madness.
I think they're counting very heavily on people not remembering or not caring. Then I think that's what you have to really lean into on this one. But cast wise, before we get into plot, what do you
Oh yeah.
Any cast that you want to call out that you liked or disliked particularly?
Kaya
Alaska, like, hovering in and out of.
Oh yeah, she's on Leon S. Kennedy's shoulder.
So Kaya Scodelario, we talked a bit about this before we started recording. So she's obviously Effie from Skins. The other Skins actors are doing very, very well. Kaya Scodelario, her character in Skins was really good, but she didn't say anything. Like, her whole thing was that she just didn't speak. Kaya was also in the Crawl movie.
Crawl, yeah, that's right.
Running away from crocodiles, and I wasn't convinced on her in that one, to be honest. And then even in this one, I'm thinking, I don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth. I just don't. I think that the less she speaks, the better her acting is.
That's something. I think you're right, because she does some horrible. She does some very good facial expressions in that, especially when you've got a bike helmet on, puts her visor up.
Yeah.
Down.
I mean, I think she does the sort of like determination of Claire Redfield pretty well. I guess Claire's thing in the games is just you just coming into Raccoon City to find Chris, whereas this one they've given her, she loves a conspiracy theory. Well, not a conspiracy theory in the end, but she's very much about that, about uncovering that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting. And also the fact that we get like initial sequence, which is a flashback with a young Claire and a young Chris, was kind of weird. I was a bit.
But she makes friends with Lisa Trevor, and they're orphans because reasons.
Also, they built in the kind of brother sister drama as well that I don't think was really there in the games, was it?
No, in the games, like the games for a large part are about them
know each other in the game.
Not being able to find them, because Chris isn't in Resident Evil 2, so Claire turns up and looks for him and finishes the game. I think you get some notification that he's away in Europe, and then they're reunited at the end of Code Veronica. So yeah, it's they spend a long time, that family that like each other, actually looking to catch back up and get back to the same place, where there's some tension between them that doesn't really go very far, because they aren't with each other until that scene where they then make up.
Talking of Chris, Robbie Amell as Chris Redfield. This is probably the most ready salted casting of all of them. Looks a bit like Chris. That's it. Do you know what I mean?
All of the Stars people kind of like dude bros. They all kind of gave off that kind of weird protein shake, Tucker Max vibe.
And they've kind of normalized all of their ages as well. Like, everyone in that entire police force just happens to be sort of mid to late 20s ish. But anywhere between 26 and 35 is basically all of them, apart from the entire chief, and apart from the person who's the chief of all the police. Only he is over 40.
Who the chief? Well, I'm the oldest. That's how it works. Because Tom Hopper is Albert Wesker, and I like him in The Umbrella Academy. I think his performance in that is good. This is just a very straightforward performance. I never really got anything. You know, sometimes you might be like, I kind of understand why he's possibly, do you know what I mean? If he was a bit of an outsider in the Stars for some reason. Yeah. Because we're not made to think he's the leader of Stars like he is in the games. In the first game, we're made to think he's just a member of Stars. Maybe if they made him, he's a bit of an outsider, they didn't really like him, we could maybe understand why he's turned on them for some reason. But
this one, it's just like one of the lads.
One of their mates, one of the lads.
He is one of the lads. And actually, I think you would be forgiven for just the way a lot of things are framed. It's like, oh,
That's Chris.
the main character, Albert Wesker.
Yeah. There were a couple of times where I was honestly a couple of times where it was Jill, because Jill goes off of Albert Wesker. Also, interesting, it almost suggests Jill and Albert Wesker may have had a bit of a thing going on, or at least
they were the close ones, because they always say like, "Oh, Chris still pining after Jill." I see, and again, don't you read a romance there? I think the dynamic I always got from those guys in the games is, oh, they're partners and good old friends.
Yeah, they're good old friends. They got each other's backs. Like a Mulder and Scully type thing. If they had a kiss, they had a kiss, no one would be shocked. But it's not really. It doesn't need to happen.
It's not about that. Yeah, like So that again, there's so much weird stuff. I think like the characters that have most development and motivation throughout the film are primarily like Albert Wesker and then William Birkin.
Yeah,
but William Birkin honestly feels like an afterthought. I know he's there in the first scene, and then it's kind of like, oh yeah, William Birkin's in this. Bloody hell! Like the story of William Birkin. Again, I am comparing it to the games, but I'm just trying to show that there's so much good stuff in the games that why can't some of this be translated? William Birkin's story is quite tragic, really. Like the fact that he died, the way he dies, and the fact that he's still sort of like in the games, Sherry's like evading him, and he's still like after her in a way because he has some sort of he remembers her, and he's not like necessarily trying to hurt her. He's just like tracking her down. That was I always found that quite tragic. Is that because he was obviously killed, didn't he? And he injected it just before he passed away, just to kind of like survive. So yeah, and it almost felt an afterthought. And what was his goal? I didn't really understand.
So there's also Avan Jogia, played Leon S. Kennedy, who's probably the character that got, I believe, got the worst treatment.
He wakes up with a duvet on his head and he can't get it off. And I'm like, who's this? Who's that under there?
He's got like a crazy hangover. It feels more like there's times in the film I was like, they've turned Leon into Doofy from Scary Movie.
100%. Right. So Leon is essentially one of the best characters in the franchise because, like, sure, he's a rookie cop. We get that. Oh, he's a rookie cop. If they say rookie one more time in this film, my head's gonna explode. Oh, hey, it's you, rookie. Oh, he's the rookie. It's the rookie guy. They give him a horrible backstory where they're like,
didn't you do that thing where you shot
someone in the ass?
Yeah.
And your dad paid for you now to
the
be
exposition. It's
shoot you.
Yeah. So Leon S. Kennedy, he's a rookie cop, but he comes into Raccoon City when a zombie apocalypse is kicking off, and you know what? He can handle himself. Apart from that, it's quite mysterious about like he's sort of like a one-man army. He's probably the most competent out of all of the Resident Evil characters.
It's because he's a rookie, and he like plays things by the book.
Yeah, this is the thing. I always said this. Even though it's his first day on the job, you always believe that Leon S. Kennedy feels like he has a duty to Raccoon City, and that kind of makes his character have so many layers to him, and so much like you sort of understand him just from that. You don't have to say anything. You don't need any exposition. You just understand what this guy's about by the fact that he wants to continue doing the job, not like going, oh, I just want to leave. I want to escape. Leon S. Kennedy at some point even says, let's just get the hell out of this city.
Whereas like book-wise, Jesus, if I'm going to the source material, again, the story you get from, again, the game, the beats that you take from, bearing in mind, this is a video game written in the 1990s where writing in video games was still nothing compared to what it is now. And
the voice acting is considered some of the worst in video games.
But what you do is you have a character who is a rookie policeman who goes to, what do policemen do? Especially if you're going by the US definitions and their mottos, it's to serve and protect. And what he does is he finds a person and there's a disaster going on, and he's about finding survivors and getting them safe. Yeah. And that's what drives that character. Whereas in this one, it's having a sleep listening to Jennifer Page.
Yeah, this is it.
It's gonna be the most basic reaction to this film is I hate what I did with Leon. But the more and more I think about it, like the the more I'm disappointed more than ever. You know, like I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed because, you know, out of everybody, we probably spent the most time with Leon. You know, we get in the games. I mean, you get obviously Resident Evil 4, like a substantial section of Resident Evil 6. So you feel like you know him the best, and the fact that he was kind of treated like this in this movie was a bit annoying. I mean, even at one point, I think he's getting attacked by a zombie, and Claire has to save him. I mean, which is fine. That's absolutely fine if you generally think, oh, I'll just act against him. How many times did this happen as well? Sorry, how many times did this happen? Something's attacking someone. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Somebody off screen shoots this
It's
thing.
going to shoot him at the last
At least
minute.
5 times.
I counted 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Leon's like just incompetent to the point where like he like drops his gun, accidentally gives it to the prisoner. Like,
Yeah, a guy who is like a reporter snatches his gun off him.
Yeah, it's like comedically incompetent.
Never.
Okay, so let's jump into the plot.
Let's get into it.
A lot here.
Oh wait, did we mention? So Hannah John-Kamen played. Did we mention Jill as well? Sorry, if I just mentioned the other big name in this. Hannah John-Kamen. So she was the villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I've also seen her in. I've seen her in a show recently. What was it? I can't remember. I think. Oh yeah, she's in Ready Player One as well. Second time you mentioned that. So she's Jill Valentine. And again, she is essentially just a female. Her, Chris, and Wesker are the same sort of like dude bro characters. Essentially,
these just cool dudes hanging out.
We're also made to think that Jill is like, oh, you and that gun. Bloody shoot everything. Don't ask questions. Shoot later. Shoot that crow. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And don't they make someone else the master of unlocking?
Yeah, Claire is really good at unlocking things.
No.
That's right, Ben. You still get your references. Jill does a Jill sandwich joke.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. So we open in the past.
Yeah.
Even more in the past, with a young Claire Redfield and Chris sharing a bed in some sort of Raccoon City orphanage. And then Claire meets a young Lisa Trevor who's just like roaming the orphanage at night.
Yeah. Is just milling about in the orphanage at night. But don't worry, she's dead nice.
Yeah.
Has she at this point got like sewn on faces and stuff?
I don't know if she's got faces, but she's still a ghoulie, and she's still got her hands in like the stocks and like is
a ghoulie.
Yeah, she's still ghoulie about the place, and it proves that it's the past because the nurse there is watching the Golden Girls, so it's the early 90s. The Golden Girls is on. And yeah, she goes into a room, has a chat with Lisa Trevor. They make friends, and then Dr. Birkin comes in. What are you doing out of bed? He goes, it's okay though. Chris Redfield comes to the rescue. Oh, she sleepwalks sometimes, and he goes, okay then, back to yeah.
And who knows what this scene would have been unless Dr. William Birkin said, Redfield, isn't it? Claire and Chris. She says to them, and they go, here, sir. Also, Lisa Trevor's story, another character in this franchise, incredibly tragic. The inclusion of which in this film was just kind of weird. Like, it was almost, I know we got her in this intro, but then after that, we were made to think that she was, I mean, she's just there as a plot device in order to get characters from Raccoon
rocks
City.
up a little bit later. They leave her to be exploded in the city.
Yeah, but she's literally got faces sewn onto her. Why are you thinking at any point that she's any level of friend?
Well, she writes a little note, a one-word note to Claire.
Says, where do you live? Below. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Where's that?
We're friends now for life.
Yeah, below. Where's below? Never heard of that. Below Street? Don't know it.
Below me.
You son of a bitch. Yeah, but and then she gives her a Humpty Dumpty.
That's the exact Humpty Dumpty from the remake as well. This is the thing, right? This is what I get worried about. Did the filmmakers of this, rather than think, right, we're going to make the first game and the second game into one plot, they took a lot of stuff visually from the remake, the 2019 remake. Now, I can kind of understand why you would do that, but it almost felt like I don't know. I felt like it was too much.
Yeah, I mean,
Unnecessary.
we can't criticize Johannes for this alone. Like, let's face it. Like, let's look at successful millionaire Hollywood filmmaker Zack Snyder. He does exactly the same. He has his assistants pull direct stills from the source material he's adapting, and then just absolutely inject your films full of it like you're filling a donut. Like literally just come until it's oozing out the edges. Like it's exactly the same.
I think in this opening scene we had the gate from the Raccoon City orphanage with the paint on the front was the same, the sign, that doll, and obviously Lisa Trevor. I mean, already it was like, hang on a minute. It almost feels like the film hasn't got a chance to like develop any level of its own tone.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like it could have been made by, like, you know, when you get those things on the internet, it's like, I made an AI watch 10,000 hours of this and this. It feels like I've made an AI play all the Resident Evil games and this is the film that's been generated.
Oh my God. You know what? If that was real, I'd go, yeah, sounds about right. So what do we do? We fast forward to 1998. How did you feel about these? How did you feel about these titles as well? Like obviously the time and the 1998, and I think
it's in keeping with Resident Evil games. Like I can see, yeah.
I like the title treatment. I think the fact that Resident Evil came up in those nice big red letters and then it faded towards the sign that said "Welcome to Raccoon City." I do think the title of the film is a bit of a mouthful.
I don't think it works at all. I don't know why. I think if you're doing I mean, obviously the format these days is just called Resident Evil.
Yeah,
you don't need to worry about subtitles or anything.
Maybe they're trying to separate it from the show, which is coming out soon. I don't know. Probably
is that going to be called Resident Evil? Because
so I've heard it's called Resident Evil, but there's also a tagline being.
It's called Bertie Wesker, Bad Dad.
Bad Daddy Wesker. What's it called? What can I think?
Is it like Dark something?
No, it's something like the what's the plant called that eats things?
Plant 42.
Venus Flytrap.
Venus Flytrap. It's called
Resident Evil Venus Flytrap. There you go.
Allegedly, I don't know if that's the title or if that's like the code name for it.
That's genuinely what it's called. That you were fucking about.
No, well, on the Netflix page. All right, okay, so it's the working title, filmed under the working title Venus Flytrap, so obviously not that. But there is a Netflix page at the moment with a logo and a little Cerberus dog, and it's just called Resident Evil. So looks like it's going to be that.
Okay, so welcome to Raccoon City. That is the sign that is up there, and now it's 1998.
It's only bloody 1998.
And what songs thing do we get on this? We do get a 1998 song.
Yeah. I can't remember what it is.
I can't remember what it is. It's all very it's all like pop music from that time. I mean, it isn't this, but in my head I'm thinking, we're in trouble. It's not that, but it's definitely
got shampoo on.
Like that.
Rambo number 5. I'm the
What you listen to? Wigfield. I'm listening to Wigfield, all right? With my United shirt on.
You are my soul sharp.
Wow.
Claire Redfield's heading into town. She's got a Gina G on. She's all set on a Sony Discman. Sony, they are product placed out the wazoo on this one with their 90s products.
So we start with like exposition already, where the truck driver's like, "Oh, having a dream, were you? Must have been some crazy dream. Looking for your brother, was it?" Oh, literally, saying things like that.
Oh, I wasn't going to pick you up. I knew you were going to be having nightmares and flashbacks to a thing that happened.
You just, when you're writing these things or telling these things, you just don't need to say anything. Like they don't need to constantly be like bringing out bits of history by asking questions. Because it's just so clumsy.
She will arrive in Raccoon City and she will go and find her brother, and you'll watch it unfold. That's all you need. You don't
need that extra bits of dialogue.
Or have a question. Just have him go like, "What was it you're going to town for?" "I'm looking for my brother. None of your business, though. Before you grab my thigh in a pervy way."
Yeah.
But she doesn't say that quick enough. And then what does he go on to do?
Wait, he's eating the cheeseburger at this point as well, right?
Yeah. Where'd he get it from? Hey? I want one. He's eating a cheeseburger. I guess is he distracted by eating the cheeseburger because he hits a woman who's
Yeah,
walking in the
he's
road.
distracted by combined eating a cheeseburger and grabbing a leg.
Yeah, it is a bit of both. Yeah.
And he's got a Doberman with a classic spiked collar as well because he's hard.
Yeah.
That is. So they pull up. The person disappears pretty quickly, and then the guy's like freaking out, like
he's done a
so.
bloody
like
he's done a hit and run before, and he's like,
it's like, oh god, what are we gonna do? And at first, Claire's like, right, you got like a body wrapping tarp in your truck. We'll wrap it up, and then the zombie lady wanders off, and like this is the first sign actually. Like the people aren't proper zombies yet, and it's okay. Because I kind of like what they're doing with this, that the people are just sick. There's something all right. There's something interesting about that. And we'll cover it in a bit more. But
I kind of went back and forth on it because obviously we'll get into it, but there's obviously a suggestion that everybody in Raccoon City is already, what's the word?
Poorly. They're all poorly.
That's what I meant. Already
they're all
infected.
Poorly. They're all
already
poorly
infected,
unless you're a main character.
And that's the thing. Oh, you've been drinking the water. Oh, don't. And it's like they've put that plot device in, and then they've gone, hang on a minute, but all the main characters will be infected as well. It's all right. They've all been drinking from their official umbrella water bottles.
If you've got an umbrella flask, then you're all right.
That everybody in the town is infected, except for the main characters. It's almost like they've gone, right, that's in the script now. Oh shit, how are we going to make sure that the main characters aren't infected? Don't worry, they're all drinking from their umbrella branded water bottles, and they don't drink anything else.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Plot armor, isn't it? Where they can't have just writing something that will protect them.
I think they did say, they must have been injected with something.
Yeah, you probably had a medicine. And again,
why? Because they're going to kill them anyway.
This is the difference that you could. This is the difference that you could have. If you were taking your time over this and plotting it a little bit more. So if the first one is separate when the outbreak first begins, but before it's then getting around the rest of the city, then your goodies, so like your Jill Valentines and so on, are at this point choosing to avoid things because they think Umbrella might be trying to get them. So they're only drinking bottled water and what have you, and Leon and Claire have arrived there on that night and are not going to have stopped for a glass of water until then. But otherwise it's just a convenient thing. And they do say, this will stop you getting poorly for a while at very least, or until it's
what it's doing convenient. There is taking the very sort of is overcomplicating things so unnecessarily, because it's just a virus, it's a man-made virus. Umbrella have been experimenting on people, bioweapons, and it's got out. That is pretty much it. That's all you need. The fact that they're adding so many layers of complication to it, like, people have been drinking the water for 10 years, or just start getting unwell on the same day. Oh, my eye's bleeding. It adds too much. That's like the kind of thing you would write down when you're brainstorming what the origins of this virus could be, and then you go, oh, hang on a minute, that really wouldn't make sense because all the main characters would have to scribble it out.
Yeah,
but that's the actual story.
But I feel like it's a note that they tried to
draft rather than a finished story script.
It really does. It does feel like a rough draft, and also like, it does take. I think it just takes quite a lot of talent to write of something with like a ensemble cast, or like where characters are all of like an even like you haven't necessarily got a lead. Essentially, everyone gets their own. It's difficult to do that, and it does feel like a first draft. It feels like it's just very, very rough around the edges.
Yeah. So I mean, here's a quick question then: can you do a Resident Evil movie? Can it work at all? I mean, I think it can.
I
think it can.
I agree, and I think it can. I was going to bring this up a little later, and I'm not claiming that I could write a thing. I think there's two things you could do, in my mind anyway. One would be to separate them out, and if you if what you want to deliver to fans is truly an adaptation, take your time and think tonally and work through it in a more deliberate way and not try to rush to get to your big bits. Secondly, if you wanted to do things like this, I would be tempted to propose an anthology movie and have it like a Raccoon City stories. And then it doesn't matter if you're lacking in connective tissue, just literally do, you have some kind of mechanism which would have you jump between different locations. And rather than follow a cohesive story, if what you want to do is fun action beats and to hit a couple of points, then do it exactly like that. Do an anthology where you do 3 to 5 short stories and it touches one character that doesn't need to necessarily connect with another, and you show as the horrors unfold in this city or at various points. You could do anything from between train incidents that touch in Resident Evil 0 to something that happens beforehand to something that happens at the events during any of those games. You could do something really cool with that and have it as a cool standalone thing, because again, you're selling it to people who know the story, so you don't need to give them everything. They can fill the gaps themselves.
I was watching a YouTube review of this movie, and they were saying when they were young, they were playing Resident Evil 2 and it's super pixelated in their mind, and they were young, teenager or whatever. They were thinking, how awesome would it be to see a HD version of Resident Evil 2 and see like a movie where it's like full, like you get to see the zombies in proper detail. And he said, and then the Resident Evil 2 remake game came out, and it was everything that he wanted it to be.
That was it. Yeah.
And he didn't. And then he saw this and realized he didn't need this. He just needed the game. The game was everything that it needed to be. I kind of agree with that.
I think like back in 2002 and the subsequent sequels, I felt like that. I felt like I really just need to see, like, if you'd have asked me any property that I would like to see a movie of, I'd be like, right, it's got to be Resident Evil, and it's got to be just the first game. Obviously take out all the stuff that wouldn't necessarily, like, you don't need a giant snake, you don't need Plant 42, you don't need all that stuff. But I think what would work is just reducing the scope right down, you know, to something that's like a haunted house movie, or, you know, a movie where Nemesis is pursuing Jill Valentine in Raccoon City. Just make it like a movie like that. Like that's the whole film. The whole film is like a sort of and make everything that's happening around it isn't necessarily key to the rest of the movie. The scope isn't Umbrella and Raccoon City and all these dozens and dozens of characters. The scope is this. I think.
I think just slow down. I think this movie it goes far too quick. Just slow down and you'll find like you'll be able to create more atmosphere. And
remember the moments in the Resident Evil games when you find that there's an underground lab area.
Yeah.
Shit!
I that's my favorite thing about Resident Evil games. It starts off so small and like such a small location, or like number 7. It's like you're in this little cabin part of the house, and then it gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and then you find out there's like an underground lab or something, and it becomes huge, just incredibly vast and sort of. I don't know. That's
this happens. They get to the mansion and they're in the secret lab. What I mean, time wise, maybe not in terms of the movie, but time wise in terms of how it plays out, half an hour.
Yeah.
Not even, like, I think it feels like they just leg it through.
Yeah.
They literally just run through. So, there's the caves. There's the lab. Get on the train. Go.
Yeah.
So in terms of where we were with the plot, the dog licks up some of the blood from the woman who gets knocked over. I'm still right at the start. Licks at the blood, and then what do we do? Claire gets
to Leon. We move to his house. We move to Leon. He's getting up.
So he's obviously doing the night shift, and he wakes up. He's a rookie police officer. If you didn't know, we're going to tell you he's a rookie a lot. He wakes up, he's late, he's like tired. Is he hungover? Don't even know. Hungover,
yeah.
Made out to be like incompetent, lazy.
Because he has like a bottle of beer as soon as he wakes up.
Yeah, he has like
of course.
Jesus. It's like anti-Leon if anything.
Yeah, some other police officers do all of his backstory for us by saying he accidentally shot someone in the ass. Now he's been transferred here. His dad has basically helped him get onto the
Kennedy
force.
Or something.
President
John
Kennedy.
F. Kennedy has got him onto the.
So they're in the diner. Why are stars in the diner as well?
I'm not sure they're ever established as being stars because, like,
it says stars in the plot summary, but I don't think.
And they've got the logo. Like, so stars logo's on their T-shirt. It's on their like vests and stuff.
They just call themselves stars. It's like a club.
But they're the only 4 policemen left in town, apparently. Yeah. Like Alpha Team and Bravo Team, because it's for some reason it's established. Maybe it's just because you didn't have that big a cast and didn't want to spend the money on extras. But basically, Umbrella is moving out of town, and there's barely anyone there. So basically, only people it quickly establishes, I think, in text at the beginning, that the only people still in the town are a skeleton crew of staff, half a dozen policemen, and people who are too poor to move out.
Yeah.
Again, like the whole thing about Resident Evil 2 is that like a massive city with a huge population has basically fallen to this, and like the implications of that, and the fact that Umbrella want to destroy it to just wipe them out and cover up their mistake. It just feels almost like inconsequential in a way. I mean, I know there's people dying, but it's almost like what are they even doing here? And it's not like spooky, because you think that could be spooky, couldn't it? Like, oh my god, like a
practically a ghost town. Yeah.
But I think it's spooky when everyone's gone and you don't know where they're gone. That's more spooky. Yeah. If everyone's just gone, you're like, well, we know where they are.
Yeah. So they go to the police station where they have a meeting with, I think it's supposed to be Chief Irons, but I think it's actually Basil Exposition from Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Screaming exposition at people. Why is he so angry? Why is he shouting like that?
Well, it's Donal Logue, isn't it? Who was in Gotham. He's in like everything. Is sort of like usually like a minor character. But yeah, like Chief Irons is creepy, weird.
Yeah, he's meant to be a lunatic.
A lunatic, and like just someone with no remorse. He was obviously on Umbrella's payroll, and basically is just doing anything he can to cover up the stuff and sort of In
this one, what he does is he comes and tells Wesker how we can pull on his date by doing loads of 90s things with his date.
Yeah.
He's like, in case you haven't noticed this, Albert Wesker, it is 1998 right now. So if you've got a date, because Albert, as you know, it's 1998. So this date, because Albert Wesker's just got a text from someone saying, hey, someone does play Snake in a bit. But he gets a text saying, oh, City's gonna be destroyed in 6 hours. So
get out, lol.
So yeah, get out. Did LOL even exist in 1998?
I don't think it did.
Probably said lots of love because they hadn't, EXO.
He reminds me more of, in the Key and Peele sketch where I think it's Keegan-Michael Key is like screaming at Aaron and getting incredibly angry at the students.
Yeah.
That's what he's like to his staff.
Aaron.
It's like screaming at Leon. Yes, I say come in the meeting.
Did I tell you to get in? Oh yeah, it's just.
You told everyone to come in. I didn't say that you would come in here, because then what if an old lady wants to find a cat and he has a go at him, and then says to Wesker, "Oh, as you know, it's 1998. So when you go on your date, you're going to go to Blockbuster Video, and then rent out 1998 film. Oh, what's a 1998 film?
Rush Hour.
You're gonna get Rush Hour on VHS, not Betamax, because that is an old format. You're gonna get it on VHS video cassette, and then you're gonna.
Don't they say about taking a bowling somewhere as well?
you're gonna take a bowling, and then you're gonna go and listen to some Journey.
He just gone about Journey. And then
Journey isn't necessarily 1998, but at the same time, weird. He had a boner for Journey.
You're going to go and listen to the Lighthouse Family, and possibly get it on. Like, I don't know what is going on with that whole bit.
I don't know what is going on. It's just too much, isn't it? It's like throwing a lot of shit at the wall, hoping something sticks, but unfortunately, the wall is
The wall's made of
Laminated.
Teflon, now it's sticking to it.
So yeah, exactly.
So two police people have gone to Spencer Mansion and they haven't called in. They've
Yeah, and they're like, I thought,
okay, we need to send a helicopter. Leon comes in and asks about what's the Spencer Mansion, and that's the point where the chief's like, as you guys know, Spencer is the owner of. I listened to that and I was like despondent. I just thought
the Spencer Mansion in the first game is essentially a cover up. Like nobody, it's just a mansion. Nobody knows what's going on in there. No one thinks that there's like a sort of pharmaceutical company making bioweapons in the lab underneath. It's just like at least the first game got that. The first film kind of got that right. The 2002 movie.
I quite like the underground lab idea version.
And then they've got a couple living there to try and. Oh, it's just a normal big house. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense than
if this film has succeeded in anything, it means that I've enjoyed 2001's Resident Evil a lot more than I ever did in the past.
I mean, we did it on the podcast. I can't remember. Was it all three of us? Was it just me and you, Luke?
I think it was just the two of you, because around then.
And I think we remembered like
up until the point where the zombies come in.
Yeah, it does. It gets a lot right. It's good. It's all right as a movie, not necessarily as a Resident Evil movie, but at least it's got its own identity to a degree. And I know, obviously, the subsequent movies were more and more and more terrible. And I would never, ever say that this movie is worse than all of them. But I think it could probably stand alongside some of those bad movies.
Yeah. I mean, I love parts of Resident Evil 2, like when the guy says, GTA, motherfucker. That's great.
Oh, yeah. You know what I hate? I just remembered one of the bits I hate. Sorry, we could get into this. Maybe we should do a bonus episode where we talk about how much I hate the Resident Evil movie franchise. But there's a moment in Resident Evil Apocalypse, which is the second one, I think, where Jill Valentine, who looks great as Jill Valentine, not sure who the actress is, walks into the RPD where they think they've got like a guy who's obviously been bitten. He's like handcuffed to a table or something, and he's like going a bit mad. She walks in, stomps right in like she means business. I might be misremembering this, but this is how I remember it. She does like a forward roll and just shoots him straight in the head. That is the GTA guy, and it's a woman that he's handcuffed to. Yeah, that is about to bite him. She's like, yeah, and nobody goes, "What on earth are you doing? You can't kill people like that." Everyone just goes, "That's Jill Valentine. She takes no shit." Wow. Fucking believable. Whereas in this one, Jill Valentine shoots the ketchup bottle off when they're being dudes before this briefing.
I don't.
She shoots a ketchup bottle off Leon's head.
The bet was, can you shoot the ketchup bottle off the top of his head? She shoots Wesker in the head and then throws the gun at Leon's head. She doesn't hit the bottle at all, and then she goes, "Pay up." What?
Pay up, and I'm taking the sandwich.
Are you all right?
Jill's sandwich.
Yeah, that's what she says. I'm taking it to Jill's sandwich.
Someone should say to Jill, "Are you all right?" I think you need like to be. I don't know if you should be like a police officer, because you're what's wrong with you?
I don't understand. This is what I got. This is what I was saying about the characters in this film. Like, you would, by odds, you would think that like just one of them would be like a professional or good, but they are all written exactly the same. They are just really incompetent dudes.
Yeah. Okay, so
before the briefing, they went. Claire went to her brother's house. She's turned up and broken in before he has to nip off to work and see this briefing. This is where we very briefly learn that Chris, meanwhile, stayed in the Raccoon City, and Birkin was a good old mate to him, was the second father to him, like Scrooge and Tiny Tim, effectively. He looked after him, sent him through the academy. He thinks that Umbrella are great. He's got an Umbrella water bottle, and he's got his Umbrella water bottle, and his next door neighbors are a creepy little ginger boy and his bald mom.
Itchy, scratchy mum, itchy, smelly mum.
Yeah,
what did she say?
Because that's what
tasty.
This is Resident Evil, like. Resident Evil Easter egg here, but it feels like it dwells on it just long enough. So, meanwhile, one of the characters gone off at that briefing, and then that is what happens. It's almost like she's written "itchy tasty" in blood on the thing.
Do you remember what Claire says?
No, what does she say? Oh, do you need some help? And she's like,
So she writes in blood on her brother's window, itchy tasty, and Claire says, "Can I help you?" like what?
And then what does she say? Because she just seems to shout something and then disappear. No, that's the little boy. So she writes itchy tasty on the glass and then looks at the camera, gives it a little wink for the fans. And then the little boy comes in the other door of Chris's house and hides under the table. But I don't know why he's hiding under the table, because he crawls under the table and he's looking outwards. But Claire is behind him. And she walks in and leans down next, because she sees him under the table. Sort of leans down next to him and goes, "You're right." And then he's the one that says, "No, you bloody need some help." And then the mom just the headbutts through the window like Spyro the Dragon, runs at it, comes hammering through that glass,
right? Okay,
and tackles her.
The thing about the zombies, being a bit more human and sort of knowing they're unwell and still talking, right? So in the game, there is a bit where you find a diary, and it's a diary of somebody turning into a zombie. Oh, my friend came in, he had an ugly face, so I killed him. And then the next one is I was having an itch and a big old chunk of flesh came off my arm. That's weird. And then the next bit is obviously it just says itchy tasty. So we see that sort of thing. But that's the only time we see that in the game franchise. It's almost like that moment's gone back to, itchy tasty is really, really popular amongst the fans. Yeah, it is. What's that about again? Oh, there's a zombie and he doesn't really know he's a zombie. That's it. That's the crux. We're gonna make all the zombies like that. And it's just, again, it's like focusing on the details that aren't important to the world building.
Yeah, I will pay out on that. I think that there are some cool bits with these zombies. I kind of like it. And the same after the Stars team leave the diner, the lady's eye is just bleeding, and I would be more alarmed by that. Yeah. Blooming hell. Better get that scene too if you're crying blood like you're the sheaf.
Poker.
But as you tell, crying blood. But I kind of liked it, and it's cool later on when they've got the police station locked up, and the people are. It's kind of escalating. They're becoming more animalistic. They're not quite zombies yet, but they are there. All the hair's coming out, and they're there shouting to be let into the police station. I think that's an interesting devolution into zombie.
Do some of these zombies look like they've been stung by bees as well? And they've got really
Benedict Cumberbatch.
that image of Bear Grylls after he's been stung by wasps or something, and his eyes are just all squished. They look like that sometimes.
All Macaulay Culkin from My Girl. They're just over there.
Oh no, rest in peace. It's just weird, isn't it? It's just very weird. I suppose that obviously the one bit we didn't mention as well, the Doberman that licked the blood does turn into a zombie dog, bites the guy who's driving the truck.
Yeah, and he's like, "Blooming hell!" Yeah,
and he crashes
you
in front
dirty bastard.
Of the police station. Leon.
It's all just going mad. So Stars are heading up in the helicopter to have a look in the mansion. Meanwhile, that guy spends quite an extended scene just driving around as a zombie in his in his
sat-nav's guide. No, sat-nav didn't exist then. That's
Tom.
Obviously, did we mention that Claire obviously shows Chris the video of Ben Bertolucci, and obviously in the game connected to Ada. There's no Ada in this movie.
Oh, Ben.
But yeah, there's no connection to that. So Claire's goal, I guess, is to kind of take down Umbrella.
Yeah, she's telling her brother about this conspiracy. With this thing, but right now she's just driving around. And by the way, also, it's hard for us to keep up because we're recapping this, but the film runs exactly like this. We've also had a very brief scene at this point where Birkin, again, presented for some reason as one of our more sympathetic characters. He's there with his wife and daughter. His wife's had a nightmare, and then he gets a phone call saying, City's
It's all kicked
gonna
off.
City's getting blown up, and he's right. Come on, get in the car. And then we see that he's in the car, and he's going, "Oh, why are we leaving town?" He goes, "We ain't leaving town. I ain't robbing off my stuff."
Who are they getting called by, right? Because the bad guys of Umbrella are Wesker, Birkin, Chief Irons. Who else? Like a lot
Maybe
of people who are dead.
maybe Birkin is important enough to Umbrella that they were going, like, his head office phoning him saying, "Oh, we're going to blow it up, I guess. We're going to blow up the city in a few hours, so just want to get on out." But he doesn't. He says they're going in because he's not going to let them steal all his
top quality research.
Just make another one, William. You know the recipe. If Heston gets a call from Waitrose and they're like, "Oh, we're blowing up this Waitrose," he's like, "My Christmas puddings with the oranges in the middle are in there. Gonna get them. Get the kids in the car."
So now this movie like splits off into two directions. We get obviously Alpha Team with Wesker, Jill, Chris. Who else?
Brad Vickers, the helicopter pilot.
Brad
Richard
Vickers,
Aiken.
Richard Aiken, yeah. So they go off to the Spencer Mansion.
What I'm going to say as well, Ben, the biggest travesty of all, mostly because there are no characters over 40 years old, but no Barry. No Barry Burton. Where is the heart?
Zero Barry Burton. Exactly. Well, this is the thing. Like, if you're going to make, obviously, a certain ending in the first game is Barry Burton is being, what Albert Wesker has got him on side because he's threatened his family. So you think Barry's a good guy for out, and he is a good guy. But when the chips are down, he does have to side with Wesker. Again, could be very interesting if that happens. But, you know, unfortunately, he's not involved. And obviously, the other side of the coin is that Claire and Leon, at least it's the right two people from Resident Evil 2, are in the police station with Chief Irons. That's just those three, isn't it?
Yeah, Chief Irons has gone to leave, and he said to Leon, "Oh, you're in charge now." But then he was interrupted listening to his Journey music. He was listening to "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow." No, it's not. That's Fleetwood Mac. He was listening to
"Don't Stop Believing."
Any Way You Want It. It's
Any Way You Want It. Yeah, of course.
That's the way you need it. He's escaping. I have that on my running playlist. It's great to finish a run to.
Confused as to what's happening here, but it looked like he got stopped by Hunk.
Yeah, it looked like Hunk, didn't it? Yeah. I mean, I think it was just Umbrella
Special Forces. Yeah.
But then, like, they were shooting people, and he kind of drove back to the police station.
Yeah. Oh, I'll let him go, I guess.
Oh my God! And then he's such an idiot. The dog comes in to attack him. He loads 6 bullets into the gun, shoots them within seconds, like without even looking at what he's shooting at, like over his shoulder. Under his leg.
He does.
Yeah. He's like the Joker shooting that man in like the 90s Batman.
He hears like he's looking for a zombie dog. He hears a rustle over there. Bang.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the dog's name is. Probably not Russell, but it is ridiculous to the point where you're
historically he'd shown himself to be capable, because while Leon was asleep to his Top of the Pops playlist, Jennifer Page's Crush, which his headphones are too loud. If he was in the modern era, his phone would have told him he's had his headphones on too loud because a truck has crashed and exploded.
You'd feel it. You'd fucking feel it. You wouldn't just hear it.
I feel that. Yeah, that happens in the mansion as well. The other way around.
Oh yeah. They say, "Where's the helicopter?" after it's exploded. It's like, well, you didn't hear or feel that?
Yeah. We were lucky that we got to the other side of this room, so this crashing helicopter didn't get us. But yeah, again, we're going at this frenetically, but like this is exactly how the films happen. It's jumping between 1 and 2. But yeah, Chief Irons did shoot the burned up truck driver who was walking towards Leon.
Also, he walks in just like he doesn't walk in like a zombie. He just walks in like a guy on fire. Like strolling
like a normal guy.
Yeah, I feel like he might ring the bell on the desk. Ding ding. Police. Yeah, I'm on fire.
So this the chief shoots him and says, "Clean that up. Watch out for more of them." As if it's everyday man on fire.
But surely there shouldn't be any zombies in. You shouldn't know about zombies yet because it's people are starting to turn now after it's been in the water for years. It's not like you've seen.
Yeah, they haven't even turned up at the gates at that point. But then during that drive and is listening to Any Way You Want It, he becomes incapable of shooting. The zombie dog manages to make him waste his bullets and sneak up on him. And those dogs do that in the game. They'll make you waste your bullets.
Oh, yeah.
But then thankfully, Claire is there to bash it with a fire extinguisher.
Oh, yeah.
Why are they making out that she's the most competent? Like, I'm fine for Claire to be competent. Of course she is. She's one of the main characters of Resident Evil 2. But the fact is, she's just surrounded by imbeciles.
Yeah. Surrounded by Mr. Beans.
Surrounded by
Mr. Bean.
Yeah. Everyone's a Mr. Bean.
Yeah, I feel like in this game, like Leon, I've just realized you saying it being like Mr. Bean. Effectively, Leon in this film is like, maybe it'll improve your opinion of the movie. Like homage, he is like the main character from Brain Dead.
Yeah.
Is that comical? Like literally, I feel like he could be like running on the spot because he's slipping on the blood. Yeah. Old Lionel.
Yeah, it is very, very silly. But yeah, as I mentioned before, they're like people getting saved at the last minute by someone shooting their attacker off screen was really bothering me because it got rid of all tension, because I was like, oh god, they're getting attacked, what's going to happen? Bang. All right, so there's even the moment, right, and I hate this so much. I hate this in movies so much. You know when someone's aiming a gun at somebody, right, and the gun fires and they look at the gun as if to say, oh, well, me, who could it have been? And it
I've been shot in the back.
And it pans over and it's someone else like that. It was me after all. Fucking hell.
Yeah, but you're right. I think the bit that got you, Ben, I think it's probably more egregious because it happens literally about 4 times in a row in the next 20 minutes of the film. Yeah. So in the mansion, we get a recreation of the first zombie encounter from the first game. Very faithfully done.
Yeah, I mean, the main hall looks great as well. From the one angle, well, maybe we see it for 2 angles, but it's essentially that one area we see that looks like faithful to the game, where we're like, okay, that's kind of cool. I think the soundtrack had some kind of nice moments as well. There were a couple of, I'm not sure about this kind of like nursery rhyme theme that was at the start and it was repeated later.
Oh, is this when we have Four Non-Blondes, the cover? I know they use this for the trailer as well, because that's when Brad gets attacked by zombies when he's playing Snake. Biggest problem here. You guys know the rules, right? How do you play Snake on a Nokia phone?
How do you play it?
Not at that speed. Certainly not at that speed. You play it on speed 9 or nothing at all.
Super slow. Is that slow?
Yeah, you play it fast. You got to play, because if you're going for a competitive score on Snake, because in the sixth form common room, there's no smartphones yet, so that's what everyone's playing. And if you're going to try and beat that score, you're going to have it on the highest speed, because the points you get are reflected by the speed that you've got Snake on. So you need it at top speed if you're gonna play it. But this guy, Brad Vickers, is there. He's got it on like a 2. It's like.
Also, I guess mentioning this, because obviously he gets attacked by a zombie. The zombie sound effects were deafening. Like, I found myself constantly going like, fucking hell. Like, and it wasn't because it was like terrifying in any way. It was just so loud in comparison to like everything else. I felt like that with a lot of the like explosions and stuff as well. Like, I felt I was getting used to a certain volume of everything. And then suddenly it was like, fucking hell, Jesus Christ.
I think like cinemas have got louder, or I'm just not used to them as much as they used to be.
Yeah.
Or they seem to feel like more sibilant as well. Like, you just get like really like hissing. Like, hits a certain frequency, it's just quite painful every now and again.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't strike me that the balance might have been off on this film in particular, but like, yeah, you're right. It is, the dialogue isn't as clear as some of the random shouts. But yeah, this is that you get all of your things. So we see the recreation of the first zombie encounter. Richard and Chris are there. I don't know how Chris escapes this, because Richard definitely gets chombled up, but Chris kind of just mills his way out of it.
Do you think they're trying to recreate the cover from the first game? Maybe it's the director's cut.
Oh yeah,
but it's Chris is like surrounded by things coming on either side of him.
Yeah, and he's like, "Whoa!"
But like he never would have got out of that, but he somehow.
but he
got
did.
out of it, did a roly-poly, and
I mean,
went under someone's
again,
legs.
this looked kind of cool. That zombie looked pretty good. In a lab coat as well. Thought that was good.
Yeah, and then they all just come for him, and they're all over the place. And basically, in the mansion, Wesker and Jill, they do the puzzle with the piano, but then the helicopter crashes into the building.
With Wesker at this point, trying to make out that he's like an operative for an unidentified party, aka Umbrella, trying to get Birkin's virus. He's literally walking along with a map, and Jill says, "Where'd you get that?" And he goes, "Alex, explain later."
Oh, I'll tell you in a bit. Although he's not working for Umbrella in this sense. He's working for the other rival company, which is a thing in the games, right?
Yeah.
But the other company are never named.
So I'm assuming that's obviously where Ada's involvement.
Yeah. So they're the other company that are coming in later.
I mean, him doing the Moonlight Sonata little thing on the piano, I liked to a degree. I feel like its involvement was kind of cool, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a nice touch. Again, I can pay out on things like that. I think that was an interesting touch, and I liked it because they didn't feel they needed to explain it. They just had like a funny little, there was a funny little aside that happened to, and he played a piano like in Willy Wonka to open a secret door.
Yeah,
and that's fine. That was cool enough. And then a helicopter comes in, and they have the big reveal. After they get up, he goes, "Oh, blooming hell, save me from that helicopter getting me." We're still in the same room where the helicopter has crashed because we can hear the radio going off because Chief Irons is like, "Hey, Brad, bring us the helicopter because we got to escape." And this is where he reveals, "Oh, hey, I get a load of money if I go and take their secrets that they're hiding in here. We're going to burn Umbrella to the ground. Do you want to come with us?" And she was like, "Oh, you betrayed us, haven't you?" He's like, "Well, no, I'm offering if you want to." "No, absolutely betrayed me. I am off. See you later."
It's so strange. Like, it's just so strange. It just doesn't have, it's got no weight. There are no like consequences to it. It's almost like, because in the games, Wesker betrays them. In this sense, even though the story doesn't really call for it, we're making Wesker betray you. He betrayed us.
Well,
she does say that to Chris.
Yeah, he says that she says he's betrayed them, but there's nothing else to it. It feels like the most interesting version that you can do of this now would be to actually throw them together in, based on the fact that I was in an empty cinema. I'm not sure if it's going to make the money to do a sequel, but if you are to follow up on this, maybe you do yourself more favors by flipping the dynamic and not make it that these are like the bitterest of rivals, because Chris and Wesker barely speak, so it's hardly as if they're going to have that relationship anyway, but more we're actually friends, but we're on different sides we end up on different sides of this now. Maybe that's how it goes.
Like Leon, the way Leon and Ada's relationship plays out. Like, they're kind of friends, they help each other, but essentially, he's a cop and she's an agent
robber
working for he's a cop, she's a bloody robber, mate.
But yeah, so Wesker just trots off down that corridor, and then we get another save where we have like an action sequence which is very Doom, where Chris is just flailing around in the dark shooting people, and then just before he gets got, Jill turns up, and that Jill turning up replenishes his ammo, so he's all right then.
She gives him a couple of clips that she found, loads of clips. There's an item box literally in that room which they go into,
and they hear that lovely save music.
Imagine that in a quiet moment of this game, and we get some level of save music. That would have been beautiful. Obviously, we get, because it could have happened when Claire and Leon are retrieving all their weapons in the police station, and then she kind of like disrespects Leon by going, "Well, you better have this as well, bulletproof vest, because you're a knobhead."
Yeah, because this is what we have on the other side.
So bib as well.
Yeah, have a bib. Make sure you don't spill any dinner on yourself. And then they go, "Oh, what's that noise? Oh, there's a prisoner in this room." And this is where Ben the reporter is there. Leon has a chat with him. He snatches his gun off him because his cellmate looks a bit poorly. His cellmate then immediately takes his eyes off. He goes to let him out, but he gets bitten by the person. Again, Claire then comes from the side and saves Leon at the last second.
Claire doesn't even get to interact with Ben, who she like pretty much was hinging on everything she come to Raccoon City for. She comes down and goes, "Oh, he's dead." There's not even a moment where she goes like, "You were right," and he goes, "Yeah, I was right, Claire."
Yeah. Also, when they heard him shouting from the other room, why didn't she also go in? She's like, "We go and see to that prisoner, please." I've got nothing to do in this room.
Her and Brian Irons are just having a lovely chin wag about Journey.
Journey. Yeah, what's your favorite song, Glenn?
I love Journey.
Anything you want.
Anywhere you want it. That'll get them out of the city.
So when she shoots a zombie, shoots his like jaw off, didn't she? And then Leon finally gets his moment to like go, "Well, I'm gonna bloody shoot this zombie now." Just unloads a clip, unloads a clip in it, and then she's like,
never be any good in the world of survival horror where resource management is
like,
key.
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you finished?" And he's like, "Yeah." Come on. I mean, their dynamic is just like mum and young son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This version of Leon with his bullet wasting, if he found himself a grenade launcher and acid rounds, I'd be like, "Oh, I wonder if it'll strip the paint of this corridor."
Turns out it does. You'll need that for the tyrant. What's wrong with you?
So we haven't got the budget for a tyrant. Off he goes.
So then they go. So Brian Irons leads them. They leave the police station and travel to the orphanage.
Just as the zombies burst in, so they can all run down a corridor and bump into every single wall.
Like how crazy was it? Like having to try and find a way to leave the police station in the game. Like it was like this massive labyrinth of places and stuff, and you couldn't really just leave. And when you did leave, even in the remake, when you did leave, they're all on the streets, and it was really like you're pretty much impossible to get from A to B because there were zombies everywhere. They go to the bloody orphanage, just like, just nip to the orphanage, shall we?
Just walk over the street. Yeah, just go down this little alleyway. But yeah, that's only after they Benny Hill through the police station. But they're going through different doors, and there's a zombie that's coming out, and they're looking at them. And then after a while, they are chasing the zombies, and there's like a police. Maybe there's someone in like a giant chicken outfit, and they're just chasing each other through these random doors. But they get out, and they get to the orphanage. And then basically they get to the orphanage. A licker turns up, gets Brian Irons.
Yeah, there we go. Done. Brian Irons.
Don't worry.
What are you doing in this film? Too late. Your face has been ripped off.
Yeah. You've been tongued.
What do you think to the liquor CGI? I swear the CG is nowhere near as good. I mean, is on par with Resident Evil 1 from 2002 or something. It just doesn't.
I think so. And again, it felt like, here's a liquor, and now it's dead. Goodbye.
Yeah. How does it get killed?
Lisa Trevor gets it in a sleeper hold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor.
Yeah. It's gonna get them. So it turns up, it gets Brian Irons and slashes him into mince, slaps him off, and then it jumps down. It manages to trip Leon off. Surprise, surprise. Probably tripped on his own. Didn't need any help with it. And then it takes a stunner from Lisa Trevor. She jumps off the top turnbuckle and just absolutely schools him.
Suplexes him onto a yogurt pot. He's out for the count.
Fruit corner. So
right on the Argus catalogue. She got him.
Their brains exposed. I feel like you could just prod that and they'd be done.
Prod it and they go, "Oh yeah, that's a good memory." Oh shit, I remember that. Oh no, childhood trauma's coming up.
Press them right in the medulla oblongata.
Yeah.
So that bit out. That's the aggression bit.
It's the aggression bit, yeah. Alligators.
Yeah, for that.
And it's so ornery.
Oh, we've got a pet liquor now. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by this film.
Mention.
I wouldn't be surprised because they've got a pet Lisa Trevor now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa Trevor turns up. She remembers meeting Claire. Obviously, not much has been going on for she was a little girl when they made friends. So 10 years plus.
But you've still got loads of faces like tied up, loads of faces sewn onto you. But we're fine to just go, she's probably all right.
Yeah.
She's probably all right on our side.
She helps them out. She chokes that liquor out, gives them a set of like video game accurate keys that match the different.
Yeah.
She's the club key and the diamond keys are on like a key ring.
Oh, I don't know.
And then she pushes like a little in the secret room that they played in.
Sorry. You know how we said that Ghostbusters Afterlife was the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen meme for 2 hours? That's incorrect. This is the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen meme for 2 hours.
Except Leonardo DiCaprio is Leon S. Kennedy in like the Resident Evil PS1 graphics. Just
exactly.
So yeah, she shows them there's a keyhole as well. They open it, and then they can get into the secret base. And even though I think they know the city is going to be destroyed at this point, they go, "Well, thanks, Lisa."
How does anyone know?
But either way, they're escaping. But they go, "All right, then, Lisa, you stay here. Then I guess our invincible friend who can kill lickers with your hands. Basically, you are our version of like Sloth from the Goonies. She turns up like, hey, you guys."
100%. That's how she's treated. Like, oh yeah, oh man.
So they leave her to it and go down into the secret tunnel, which, as you know, is connected. Secret tunnel goes to the mansion actually.
Secret tunnel that goes to the mansion, and you open up the first door and you're in the exposition chamber, a bit like at the end of Resident Evil Village where you're like, what's everything? Oh, luckily someone's made a scrapbook.
Yeah, there's a scrapbook full of files and videos, and this is where also there is
dangerous dangerous stamped over like Lisa Trevor's face.
What's this? Lisa Trevor's file? I'm calling this. I've seen enough. I'm going to classify her as dangerous.
And then you go, actually, she's all right. Actually, bit of a laugh.
Yeah, she's dangerous to them though. So yeah, Lisa Trevor classified dangerous. And then loads of
like a spin-off action movie.
Yeah,
Lisa
Trevor. Arms in brackets tied together and dangerous.
Yeah, with a little bit of hair coming out of one of the eye holes. I noticed.
Yeah, she's there. That's her upcoming spin-off series if she survives the explosion of the city.
It's the original Odd Couple, Lisa Trevor and that liquor that she prodded in the brain to make not attack
to make
anymore.
it nice. Basically, like the dog from the Predators movie that we saw.
There's a bit where they're eating spaghetti and the long tongue's coming out, and it's just crazy times.
Oh man. So yeah, she stays there to die. They look in the exposition room. There's loads of evidence of all the kids they were killing. Claire Redfield goes, the evidence that Claire sees makes her really angry, so she just rips it all up.
There's literally like a page. There's literally a page which says 100 dead kids. And she goes, how many?
And she was going to be one of them, but for some reason she wasn't. I don't understand. We never covered that. It's like,
we literally don't know.
They wanted to take me down there.
Run away. Is that when she was supposed to be a test patient or something, and then she escaped and ran away from?
We never know.
I'm just kind of piecing that together.
They went, do you want this? Do you want this experiment on you that might turn you into a brain dead monster? She went, no. And they went, well, I can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. She knows what she wants.
Yeah, consent's important. Well, if she's not going to sign the paperwork, she's not going.
It's around this time Dr. Birkin has like a kid on a table that's like completely opened up, and he's like prodding around. I don't understand what he's doing because it's like prodding around in their guts and stuff. And his wife and daughter are just there. And he's like, just don't look. Dad's got work to do.
His kid's just standing in the corner.
Disgusting. Do you grow up? But also, like
on the table as
William
well as
Birkin.
guts.
Yeah, that was a bit unnecessary because it's almost like that scene was just trying to establish him as evil. But I'm like,
I like that guy's face. Evil? You know the actor who plays him. He's in like Desperate Housewives.
Neal McDonough.
He's got the face of a Cupid. Like he's got a cherub's face.
Oh, hello.
He's
got flushed cheeks, like someone's gone up to him, like a grandma's gone up to him and gone, oh, you little cutie boy. And he's gone, get off.
I'm a scientist. Yeah, you're right. And this this zombie person is on the table. They're laid out like a garden centre, like at the end of the void, and he's just there poking and prodding little bits out of him, like he's having a dibble dinner. He's like, get a little bit of that.
And then
I wonder what he's doing there, because isn't he just getting the briefcase of vials? Just pick
Just
that up. Stop.
yeah,
playing with your fucking dead kid.
Why didn't you put that one away before you came home from work that night? No, left it out. I guess he didn't know the city was going to explode that day, so he's probably getting back to that in the morning.
He's like, right before I leave, exposition room, everything's all open and ready, and it's all nice. What's that? The vials, they're there as well, ready to go. And what's this? I could sew you back up, but to be fair, you never know.
Yeah, he's like got that. His attitude to sewing up a zombie corpse is the same as like teenage me making my only going to get in that bloody bed again tonight, aren't I? Yeah, I don't need to get
yeah. What's the bloody point? What's the point in anything? What's the point in cleaning my pants? What?
Yeah.
So obviously Wesker turns up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wesker turns up and goes, "Gives them vials," and he goes, "Shan."
Gives a go, mate.
Gives them vials.
I'll give them vials. It's like a PlayStation controller. Gives a go, mate.
Gives a go them vials. He goes, "I shan't give you the vials. These are my vials. They were given to me by the Umbrella Corporation, and you are specifically not allowed any. How many have you got in there? Let me just check. Just the right amount that I need, actually. So...
Can I have half of them? I actually need them all, so it's going to be a no." And then a quick time event moment happens where he goes to grab his gun, and Wesker presses triangle and circle together. And bang! Shot you first. I bet he shoots him back.
Yeah, they both get shot. They both get shot right back, and then it's a series of lots of people just escalating, getting shot. So Wesker's been shot, and he's like, "Oh, that's gone a bit sharp. I've got
a bit."
You know, in Space when they're doing the finger guns. And it's just escalating and getting worse and worse, and everyone ends up dead. It's like that, but with real guns.
Yeah, so they've been shot, and Birkin's on the floor going, "Oh, blooming hell, he's made me right poorly. I need some medicine. Get Annette, get us some medicine." And she
cowpoles.
Yeah, she starts to get some of the cowpoles out the vials, and then she also
Annette
goes
is a major
for the gun.
character as well, and Annette is just like faceless wife.
Yeah, then she goes for the gun as well. Then Wesker shoots her, but Sherry's chipped off. Just round the corner, she's fine. But Birkin is having a bit of a chuckle because he's got one of those vials up and he's like, tricked you, Wesker. I've injected myself with this stuff. This is all while Claire and Leon are watching that video of the Ashford twins dissecting that dragonfly.
They're loving that. They're like, this is great.
It's like, they're going to kiss. They're watching it. Because they do. They stare at each other for a while. And then Wesker, it looks like he may or may not shoot Sherry when she comes around the corner, but then he gets shot by Jill.
He gets shot by Jill, and that has got absolutely... I mean, why would she shoot him? Like, based on what? Like, if you just walked into that room and you saw a man who you've worked with for years with aiming a gun at a kid, you'd be like, stop what you're doing. Maybe.
He's betrayed him though. So,
but because he's betrayed them, even though really he hasn't, she shoots. She's just trigger happy, isn't she, Jill? Yeah. In this,
Jill's a bit trigger happy, and Wesker so far, genuinely, has probably been the most likable character in the movie.
Yeah.
Again, at least we kind of understand. I mean, not entirely, but at least he's got something of a purpose. It might not make sense majorly in terms of the structure of the film,
but he's all right with it. Actually, he's not too annoyed about being shot. He's like, I wasn't gonna shoot. I wouldn't have shot the kid. Honest. He's like, this is a bit of a pickle, isn't it? I've been shot now. Yeah. And he goes, there's a train over there. You go in. Like his last moments are like of peace. He's like, blooming hell, this has turned out. This is right fine.
Says to Sherry, even goes, I wouldn't have shot you, no.
I wouldn't have shot you, kid.
Old me. Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, he's smiling away.
Yeah, this is a bit of a mistake. Anyway, off I go into death now, I guess. So he dies. And they go to Sherry seems to know the kids because she gives... it's because he knows the Birkin family because they're mates. So she gives him a big old hug. She's like, Uncle Chris.
Uncle Chris. It's just bizarre, and it's just very strange.
So
It didn't feel right.
they head for the train. They're on the way. Chris is too hench to get through the door, though. Sadly.
Yeah, what happens here?
Well, they go in through like a patio doors to where the train station is, but Chris is too wide to get through there. So, and Birkin's come in because he's been injected, isn't he? So he becomes a monster man now.
Yeah.
And he's still got the same element of those zombies where he's shouting, going, Chris Redfield, where are you, mate?
That was then, he turned into a proper like super villain at this point. And I think something that makes, again, I'm sorry to keep comparing it to games, something that makes Birkin such a formidable foe in the games is the fact that obviously he slowly transforms throughout the game. You see him a few times. He's like in the shadows, killing people and doing things, and he's sort of stalking Sherry as well. It's all very, very effective. Sort of when there's the reveal of him all transforms, you're like, fucking hell. And the next time you see him, you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, look at the state of him now. This is all like condensed into like just ejected, transform, big beastie in such a small amount of time that it just feels like, well.
I tell you what, though, like the first thing it transforms, yes, he gets some eyes on his shoulder and so on. Mostly transforms him into a spiteful little bitch, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because what he's doing is he's going around the thing. He's going around the thing going, oh, Chris Redfield, you didn't think I was really going to be sponsoring him. Thought you were part of my family. Nah, always thought you were a dickhead, mate. I've been slagging you off behind your back for years.
Well, why are you angry at me? You and Wesker have got the beef, or you got the
literally.
Beef
I've done nothing to you. And he goes, oh yeah, but you're a right thicky no brains, aren't you? Your sister Claire, she was the clever one because all of her conspiracy theories were true. Just give up that little bit of evidence.
All the conspiracy theories you believed in were true. All right, all this stuff about Umbrella, that the world is run by a satanic pedophile ring. She got it all right. Okay, she was all on board with it.
Yeah. So she was all over it. Thankfully, having admitted that, we get another example. And I say it's the last one. It's not. There's at least another one. So Birkin is going to get Chris. He's not going to be able to fight him. But then Claire turns up and is like, "Ha! Now you've admitted it. I'm going to get you." And she shoots him up the loads with the shotgun, and he's down and out. And then he becomes nice again for a minute. He goes, "Oh, Chris, finishes off. I'm sorry. Soz about all that. Just I get a temper on me and I say things I don't mean." But he's had enough of it. He's like, "Yeah, fuck his Birkin," and he shoots him. And then they reconcile from the row they had early in the film. And then basically the gang's all together now. Sherry is instantly familiar with Claire and Leon. She's like, "Oh, just a really trusting kid whose parents have both just died."
She doesn't seem that bothered. At one point, she's kind of looking at him almost like doe-eyed, a bit like, "There they are. Oh, yeah, my parents have just been shot in front of me. It's all right. Things will be all right." And for some reason, because Jill has now got that handheld map device thing that Wesker had, she now knows for some reason that the city's going to be destroyed at 6 a.m. But rather than have any tension in this moment, like obviously at the end of the games, you have a countdown like 3 minutes until this place will be destroyed. Stuff like that. There's nothing. She kind of just goes, "Oh, 6 o'clock."
Oh, but hell, it's getting late.
What's the time? Well, it's all right. It's all right. We got till 6 until the city explodes. What's the time? It's
3 minutes.
6.
They kind of run into the train again, very accurately created from the train at the end of the game. So all of our characters are there together, and what I love is that they create a sense of tension by just the two of them running into the cockpit. So just Claire and Leon go into not the cockpit, that's for trains, the driver's compartment of the train. And they go like, "Oh, how do we use the train?" I was like, "Oh my God, what do we even do with this train?" But obviously Leon's read the manuals, because after being incompetent through the entire movie, one thing he can do is instantly work a train. He's just like wordless on.
You just go up. You just go up and press circle.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Would you like to use the train? Yes.
Yes, of course.
But unfortunately, as they're escaping, one more bit of terror. The big final form of Birkin, as you say, Ben, is kind of gone from stage 1 to stage 10 in one move. Now he's just bloody covered in eyes.
Covered in eyes. He has eyes everywhere. There's a little William Birkin head floating, just like
I couldn't
somewhere.
tell where that head was. Like, it kept cutting to the other head,
Yeah.
and then it would do a
I think it was
close up
like
of his head, maybe
Just
on the
chest.
on the back.
his breast.
Oh,
Yeah. And again, final battle that lasts 20 seconds, maybe. Is that what we're saying?
It's grabbed Jill, she grabbed Claire, and she stabs him in the face. Chris shoots a load of eyes, but it's not going to be enough.
Well,
but
yeah,
thankfully,
this bit was kind of like, he's shooting the weak points, and I think you get that in the Resident Evil 2 remake and the Resident Evil 3 remake, where there's creatures of eyes that you're shooting.
Yeah, shoots him in all the eyes, and then who should turn up with a rocket launcher? But Leon, there was just one up front.
Don't fire a rocket launcher.
He says he shoots a rocket launcher right by their faces.
Yeah.
As if, and they're like, Chris just kind of turns away, as if that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be keeping in character with Leon if he accidentally killed everyone.
Everyone just exploded. What happened? How did everybody die? Somebody shot a rocket launcher indoors.
In a train, in a single train compartment.
Well, I guess he's proved himself to be technologically capable now. He used his Walkman earlier on. He turned on that train instantly. He probably just, when he put the preferences on his rocket launch, probably just turned splash damage to off.
Yeah.
Off. And then he shoots and blows him up, and then literally does little throwaway lines like, "Yeah, found this in first class."
Why would it be why would it be on the why?
Why not?
Well, they've got to do something to justify how much more first class train tickets cost, Ben.
Oh yeah.
I've taken the train to London. It's like, I don't think it's worth that price difference.
Sandwiches.
I don't think it's worth the price difference. The fact you get just a free hot drink. I think it's gonna. I want a rocket launcher.
I want a rocket launcher. Where are you going? Birmingham.
And the bazooka.
Yeah. Bazooka for when you get off. And they're like, right, who wants some?
So then I think all of Raccoon City collapses.
What was with the shot of like a cow, and then
and the cow is in the air for a little bit.
Yeah, the cow gets blasted away. Probably ends up in that tornado from Twister.
Yeah.
But also, it's a completely different angle of Raccoon City. If it showed the same angle as earlier, that sort of angle where you could see the police station and everything, that was kind of quite cool. But maybe if you saw that angle and it exploded in the that would make more sense. I was like, what are we looking at? Just looked like a random bit of Chicago, with some of the buildings. It was weird.
Was that not Spencer mentioned?
Yeah, the Spencer Mansion falls into like a sinkhole, and then the whole city does as well.
Yeah.
Then
the guys walk out the other side of the tunnel, and they jump and high five, and it freeze frames.
Yeah.
And then the credits roll.
Pretty much.
And it's like an action movie thing as well, where Sherry's like, guess I'm your kid now.
Yeah. We belong to you now. No. Leon's like, absolutely not. I'm incompetent. I'm a drunk.
Yeah.
I'm deaf.
Yeah, we've only met this evening. These two have got things to work out. She's been betrayed quite recently, so
she's not going to be the same. And then there is a mid-credits scene where somebody awakens, sits up straight in a body bag. That was initially quite cool because if you remember at the very start of the Resident Evil remake on the GameCube, the very first sequence is a zombie sitting up on a mortuary table.
The thing is, it was quite a square bag though. I thought it was like, oh shit, they put a tofu Easter egg in here.
Oh my god! Can you imagine? So Wesker awakens. There's obviously a bit where it just goes, he's ripped mine, didn't you know? Because you might not notice, but he's absolutely.
He needs at least one shirtless scene. Yeah.
He wakes up. He's blind as a bat. He's like, I can't see anything.
He's like, oh, my eyes sting.
My eyes blade sting, but you'll be all right in a minute. And obviously, we're made to believe that sure he was dead, but he's been revived using some level of of bioweapon thing, but it in turn has made his eyes proper sting.
Yeah.
But luckily, luckily a hand hands him. That's what hands do. They hand you things.
Yeah.
And hands him a pair of sunglasses, classic Quicksilver shades.
He has got like literally the most standard off the rack pair of sunglasses that someone could buy, like from a garage.
And he puts them on. He goes, "Oh, that's much better." And then the person who gave him the sunglasses, again, who are you? I don't want to know who you are. I'm going to give you my full fucking name. All right, just so there can be no mistakes.
Yeah, Ada Wong.
I'm Ada Wong.
Unpopular character Ada Wong. Hey,
we've got some name game for you. If you're ready for some.
Oh, always.
We'll start off on the assisted difficulty, which is the easy mode.
Also aim.
Yeah, this one is it's very similar to Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City, except instead of zombies, it's country leaders.
President Evil.
Welcome to Raccoon City. Yeah, easy mode.
Assisted.
There we go. Get a little bit hard now. We're going to hardcore. Is that the next difficulty?
That's a lot harder.
It's normal, surely.
There's no option for normal, it says here.
Hardcore, okay.
So this is an origin story and explores the secrets of the mysterious Mickey Mansion and the ill-fated Toontown.
Oh. Mickey Mansion and Toontown. Welcome to... It's from Roger Rabbit, right?
Toontown, is that, yeah?
I mean, just rhymes with
Resident Evil.
No, Raccoon, sort of. Ignore the Resident Evil.
Welcome to Cartoon City.
There you go. Welcome to Cartoon City. Okay. Yeah. Next one. We'll stay on this hardcore difficulty for now. So this one is the same as Resident Evil, but instead of zombies, it's fish, and instead of shotguns, it's wink, wink, underwater guns.
Harpoon City. Welcome to Harpoon City.
Okay. All right. Now we're going a bit more difficult. We're going to nightmare mode.
Oh, shit.
So this is very, very similar to Resident Evil again. But this one stars Chevy Chase as the father of a small family unit trying to escape some zombies, but getting into all sorts of comedy japes.
Resident Evil National Lampoon City.
Lampoon City.
Welcome to National Lampoon City. Right, this one. Now we're going to Inferno mode.
Oh, the hardest. This is going to be a deep cut of an X-Men character from the 90s, Ben, be careful.
This is pretty much Andy's default mode. It's about a little mammal, similar to a ferret, but is very shy. This little mammal is attacked by zombies on a particularly cold afternoon.
So, like a ferret.
A raccoon?
Nope. Little mammal, similar to a ferret. And a lot of people will look at a ferret and say, oh, that's but it's not.
A ferret. It's a stoat.
A polecat.
Close again, but no.
A mink.
Oh, no, wait. It's the one that fights the snake.
Resident Weasel.
But it's a shy weasel.
Oh.
Shy weasel.
Ever so shy weasel.
Well, it's not, I don't know, it's a bit nervous about coming out of its hole, let's say.
Oh, a hesitant weasel.
Hesitant weasel. And
it's a bit cold.
He's being attacked by zombies on a particularly cold afternoon. This is so hard.
So
this doesn't even make sense. But,
hesitant weasel.
Welcome to...
So, cold afternoon.
Freezing, icy, crisp. Frosty City.
Hesitant weasel, welcome to afternoon nippy.
Afternoon sniffy.
I like how you thought I would know by raising your eyebrows. Welcome to... Oh, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Well done. 5 out of 5.
Good times.
Now we need to rate the film. I think you guys might go a little bit lower than me, and I'm going pretty low.
Looks like B-. It was great.
Definitely.
I mean, there's some things I like about this film, but not a whole lot. And the story really, really puts me off. So I'm just going to go with D+.
Interesting. What about you, Andy? What are you thinking?
Again, in the interest of balance, like there are some things that I can absolutely pay out and get on board with. I like what they did with the slow degeneration of the zombies, keeping their speech. They're not just human until they're monsters. There is a middle ground, which I liked. And yeah, that's the main bit. I like 1998 pretty well. But other than that, I feel it was just so heavily rushed, and a lot of it comes down to because I will never penalize something for a lack of budget. So I'm not going to mark it down on wobbly CGI or anything like that. I think it purely comes down to the way the characters were written. I think everyone that was in this movie would have been capable of delivering well on the characters that they had. And if they'd had the same care in the way that those characters are written as they had the thoughts on designing some of the sets, then we could have had a very different thing with that little bit of restraint as well, to just adapt to one thing rather than trying to do everything all in one go. I hate to say it, when it achieves, if the main thing it achieves is me looking back more fondly on the original movies, it's kind of an iffy thing, because it feels like it didn't really have that much of an identity. So I think I'm gonna go. Luke, when we spoke before, I said, I wouldn't do an E, but is a D- harsh enough? Or E+? E+. E+, Ben.
That's quite. I think that might be the lowest I think you've ever scored.
That's the lowest I've ever scored. And I you know me, guys. I like objectively awful movies, but I just think there are some things I can't excuse in this.
Also, it's a good score. Plus, it's got a plus in it.
Yeah,
it's good.
I don't want to distract from that. I know that the people that made this liked it, but
Yeah, I think it just, I'm not entirely sure why, but it just seems to fail on almost every level. And that is really, really disappointing, because I had high hopes after the trailer. A lot of people were saying that looks awful after the trailer. And I was like, yeah, it kind of does. But you know what? I think what I said before is this was the kind of Resident Evil film on the surface that I felt like I wanted. Something that perhaps doesn't take itself too seriously, is a lot more loyal to the games, but it kind of forgot to have a compelling story in any sense. I can forgive some bad writing, I can forgive some bad performances. Well, I don't think any performances were.
Yeah, they performed just fine.
Yeah, I can forgive those sort of things usually, but the fact was that the story that was tying it all together was so, like, it felt incredibly rushed, and it felt like it did bite off more than it could chew. The scope of it was kind of huge, but very vague as well. Like, it was almost like, well, yeah, there's a few things from the Resident Evil games, but in terms of like really respecting the lore and the mythology of the games, I felt like it didn't respect it. Almost don't feel like it understands it either.
Yeah.
Which obviously, from a directorial point of view, I was made to think that yes, he does understand the source material, but like, there's a difference between like understanding it and kind of like being familiar with it, essentially. So it feels like a lot of stuff was thrown into this big old boiling pot of stuff, and what came out was just a bit of a failure, where some characters were like completely left at the wayside, other characters were kind of completely misunderstood or just like silly. It needed to be either a schlocky horror action B movie or something else entirely. And I just feel like it didn't, in terms of identity and tone, it didn't know where to fall, where it fell, and it just was a mess essentially. I don't know if I go for an E plus because I respect the fact that this film's been made and the way it's been made. I feel like we're lucky. I'm lucky as a Resident Evil fan to get to see a film like this where bits from the games are faithfully recreated. I mean, to a point, I enjoyed that. There were moments where I was kind of like, no, yeah, that's pretty cool. But in terms of like a cinema going experience or something to genuinely reboot a franchise that I think has got so much life in it, the fact that now could be like, we might not get another Resident Evil movie again. We might not get a Resident Evil movie again for like years and years. Now we're getting a TV show. But I mean, I suppose I should be grateful because Resident Evil does get a new property in some form of media pretty much like every year. So of course, but disappointing. I think that was the way I felt after this, just completely disappointed. It left me cold, and I
So
have
what are you
no
saying, Ben?
intentions to see it again. I don't think so. I'll go for a D minus, I think.
Yeah. You see, I feel harsh now with going with an E plus, and as you were saying, I'm not gonna. But then I thought, no, actually, because I think about it, I love this franchise and I love these movies, and like you, Ben, I think it's cool that someone took a shot at it. But then I try to think like how hard I would strike out trying to defend this film to someone who was not a fan of the games. Like if I had taken my wife to this movie and say, "Oh, come and watch this," like just this action horror movie with me, like I would get shit for choosing that movie for months. It'd be like, "Oh, remember that time that you chose the movie and we went and saw that thing that I think would be absolutely impenetrable to someone who didn't have a fondness of the games."
Wow. Yeah, definitely. There we go.
Cool. All right. So that's Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to our current patrons, John Crennan, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Toby Miller, Laura Kendrick, Scott Rigby, and Pazuzu. Thanks to Capcom for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. If you enjoyed, please consider rating and reviewing and head over to Facebook, the Facebook group, Horror Hangout Board of Advisors. Next week, I don't know what we do next week.
The Faculty, I believe.
Okay.
The Faculty.
Nice palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Some more 1998 music, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to that. So yeah, thanks for listening, but thanks to my co-hosts for being right horror dudes.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, guys. See you next time, everyone.
Right. See you
Bye-bye
later.
now.
Bye.
Bye.